My lighting is terrible. Are we live? Is anybody on Facebook to see if we're live?
Let us know we're here. Let us know,
Let
y'all.
us know we're here, party people.
I am
Let
just
us know
out
in
here
the
all
chat.
natural. I ain't
If
got
y'all can
no
see us,
light.
let us know in the chat if y'all
Just
can see
open
us.
the
Are we
window.
by ourselves? Because if we by ourselves, we will really show out up in this
Yeah.
piece.
We don't know how
I'm
to
tr-
act. Y'all, please come.
We don't. I'm trying to bring it up on my other computer. But welcome, y'all.
It's in
We
my
are
Instagram too.
live. We are live. We are
We
live. We
are
are
alive.
live. We
We
are
are
alive.
alive.
Welcome to the Black Mama Magic Room.
Thank
We're
you.
going down.
Oh, I didn't do my welcome. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the ride. It's the greatest podcast. What do I say?
You know what? On
G
Earth.
On the
on
planet.
Earth. No, because it's what is it? Is it
Cheapo.
it's
Cheapo.
GPO. Hey, everybody.
Look
Welcome
at
to
you,
the ride.
NeKisha just shaking her head.
Hey, everybody. Welcome
Lord.
to the ride.
Who picked right after the new moon to go Facebook Live
Me.
with Dem Black Mama?
Me. I
Okay.
did.
The person
Okay.
who's most affected by
Right,
the
the
new
moon
moon.
cycles. Okay,
Mhm.
so let me get it together. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the ride. The mothership has landed. It's the greatest podcast on the planet. Dem Black Mama's podcast. Welcome to the Black Mama Magic Room, everybody out there. If
I
you're
love the
in the Black Mama
background. It
Magic,
does make me
thank
feel
you.
just make me
I wish I
feel
could.
very otherworldly.
I wish I could make it
Celestial.
move. I wish I could make it
Oh,
move.
I know.
That
Girl,
would be
no, don't do it.
nice,
It would
right?
distract me.
But I'm
Yeah.
working on it. I'm working on it. So
Goodness.
if you're in the Black Mama Magic Room with us, say what's up in the chat or type magic in the chat. Let us know that you're there because I don't have it pulled up on my other computer.
I
And
don't think
even
you
if
can
you
make it
catch,
Does all
move.
the magic things.
I
what'd
think
you
we will
say?
be so distracted if you make it move. Don't make it move.
You
Because we'll
think
be like
so?
in a
Oh,
I was
daze.
gonna
Thea will
make
definitely
it.
be.
I was
But it'll
gonna
be
make
pretty
it
though, so you know I
move.
want it to happen.
Yeah, I love pretty things. I was gonna make it move, and I was also going to like add some leaves around the edge because if you've seen our other video,
Mhm.
the background moves and all that, and I was gonna make
Mhm.
some leaves around the edge, but if not, it's cool if we don't want to do that. I was trying to bring this up on my other thing. Okay. But okay, we don't have no comments so far, so it's just us, but that's cool. So if you're watching the replay, drop some comments, let us know where you're watching from, even if you're watching the replay. So do we want to just get into it? It's been a lot
Yes.
going on.
Yeah, I
Yes.
just want to say something that I saw Stacey Mitchell the other day, which is
Mhm.
in and of itself, if you don't know, that's a flex.
That's a
Because
flex. That's right. That's true.
citing
That's
Stacey
true.
Mitchell is like there she go. Like you got to catch it. It's like a flash of lightning.
It's like a flex.
And
Wow,
I got me a
Stacey.
couple hours with a flash of lightning. And she was like, I don't really get into podcasts too much, but y'all podcast is good. It's so good. She said it's
Oh,
I
so,
love
so,
it.
so good. I just
that's
want to say that's like having
that's
10,000
high
people
High
praise.
in the chat.
praise.
That's like
That's
having
high
Yes.
10,000
praise.
people in the chat right there. I
Yeah,
just want to put that
that's
out
high
there.
praise.
We
Thank you,
love you,
Stacey.
High
Stacey.
praise.
Thank
And
you,
Stacey was on
boo.
her episode and loved the episode and we were reflecting on it. It was really beautiful.
It was really nice. It's
Always a good
on
time.
healing the body or something like that. I can't
We talked a
remember.
lot about kids getting older and the
Yeah, we did.
transition.
I
How
mean, yeah, we
we
went off the
detour.
rails.
Yeah,
We
we
do go off
detour.
the rails. So our lineup is as usual. We've never done a live show like this, but our lineup is as usual. If you're watching on if you're watching on our Facebook page, please share on your personal page. So we will start off with our church announcements, praise reports, and prayer list request. I'm sure, given the times, we will probably have
I
a
see them.
lot on our prayer list. You see the peoples? You see the peoples coming in the room? Come on in the room.
We have done a show like this. What's different today,
Come
Crystal?
on.
Yeah, we
We're
had to
doing a
interrupt
The
we're doing
processional.
a we're
that.
we're doing a full show. Usually we come on and do a live and it's just about a topic, but we're
Yes.
actually doing a full show.
This is
So
true. We're doing some like
we'll have
Soup to
church
nuts, as I
announcements,
call it.
soup to nuts. I heard somebody else say that. Soup to nuts.
Soup to nuts. Yeah.
how come I
Don't
can't
think
see
on it
the
too hard.
comments?
Don't think on it too hard.
How come I can't
Okay.
see the
You'll
comments?
end up somewhere else. Don't do it.
Oh, I don't know. You should be able
Don't
to.
do it.
There are no
Don't worry
comments
about
right
me.
now.
Okay, but you see people talking?
No, I don't see people talking.
Oh,
I can
soup
just
to
see the
nuts
number of
was
people.
okay.
It's me.
Yeah.
It's me.
I'm just gonna back up and let you do what you're doing.
Okay.
The
Okay.
herbs. The herbs.
So
Already
Everybody
kicking
needs
in.
to.
So we'll probably have a lot of prayer requests given the state of this country. Um
And our
and
mental states.
and our mental states. And then
Mhm.
we'll move into our mac
Mm.
and cheese segment, which I'm super excited about. We
Yes.
really, really need some joy right now. We have Michele Foss, also known as the TV Doc, joining us, and we'll be talking about Black motherhood depicted on television. So I'm super, super excited about that. And we will close out the show with Black Mama Say. And in this Black Mama Say, we have a listener letter, and it is a goodie. Let me just tell y'all the title of this, the subject of this listener letter. The subject of this listener letter is combating toxic masculinity. So y'all
I'm
know
staying out of that listener.
No,
letter.
Thea.
You know, I get a reputation every time I tell the truth.
You have come a long way, Thea.
I have
think
come
you
a
can do this.
long way.
First of
long-
all,
A long way.
First of
But-
all, it's not allowed. You're not allowed to stay out of this listener letter. You're not allowed.
You
want
come
to
full circle, one might say.
Yeah, you want to
Full
leave people. You want to leave it just to me. I don't think you want to do that.
We
I don't
don't.
think.
No, we don't. Because Truth Talks was evidence that we don't want to do that. You're right.
But I do
Let
have
me
some.
see what NeKisha say, and then we'll balance.
I
it out.
actually do think I have some sage wisdom for this listener. I really do think I have some sage wisdom. For
You
this
do.
listener. So that's gonna be our show today. So we're gonna jump right on into it. Let's get started with the church announcements. Who wants to go first?
NeKisha, you go.
Who wants to go first?
We're on summer break. It's not.
This is,
Ah!
you know what? This
I
is.
do feel that kind of way. My birthday's coming.
That is an announcement.
So are you?
That
So
is
are you
good.
going first? Are you going first?
Yeah,
with
yeah,
your church
sure. My
announcements?
birthday's
Okay,
coming.
Tia's going
Wait,
first. Tia's going
Wait.
first. Mhm.
Wait. How
You said
many
you was
minutes
on
are we into
summer
this
break.
thing and you have not announced what this week is, man? We're in the celebration of a week, of a thing. It's a thing.
Well, I didn't want to talk about that because that week actually didn't happen.
But
So I
it's
didn't.
happening now. We're doing this is what we hear. We are
Okay,
It's about
so
to get really
this-
interesting.
we in it. Thea, what you
NeKisha
say?
You know,
is rare form.
I
wanna see
have
your shirt
known-
right now.
I dissent. That's what it says. I'm out here. I'm wilding.
Oh, you know what?
trusted
The
to
fellow
bring y'all
water
in
sign
today.
season. Aha.
I
She's going to water.
have known NeKisha for what is it now? 25 years.
A lot.
I met NeKisha in late February of 1997.
when we were a wee 3 years old. Go
We
ahead.
were, oh, yes. When we were 3.
Mhm.
NeKisha is my line sister, and we have grown to be really, really great friends. And let me tell you what I can always depend on from NeKisha,
Mhm.
that I won't get away with shit. Like
Mhm.
I
Mhm. And she's in
No,
Cancer season, which is like baby Scorpio season.
Y'all
So
supposed to
when-
send me messages before we get on live, and I say
Right.
stuff that I ain't supposed to
I
say.
didn't.
I'm sorry.
That's my
I-
bad. That's my
we in
bad.
it.
So usually this week would have been Black Mama Creative Week, right? Black Mama Creative Week is a
But
week.
Crystal
that-
went out gallivanting with white folks
Well, can I
with no protection.
talk about it?
I
No
wasn't gonna say
spiritual
that.
protection.
I wasn't gonna say that.
Well, I
Can
mean,
I
you opened the
talk
door,
about
so
it?
I figured we're gonna.
So
We here now.
Black Mama Creative Week was founded by us, Dem Black Mamas, to celebrate the creativity and ingenuity of Black motherhood, because we believe, as Black Mama creatives, that motherhood is not the graveyard of dreams. And so we believe that Black mothers should pursue their creative dreams and allow their motherhood to drive them and inspire them in those endeavors. And we also believe that our ancestors didn't survive because of their ability to endure immense pain and atrocity, but they survived because of their creativity and ingenuity. So that is the foundation and the inspiration for Black Mama Creative Week. With that being said, as you all know, we took a hiatus last year, and I am calling this my learning season. I'm learning a lot about motherhood right now. I'm learning a lot about a small business, running a small business. I officially started my company in January that produces this podcast. And I'm also learning a lot about our podcast right now and how to hold things in a way that I'm continuously inspired by and in love with the podcast and not agitated or irritated by it. So with that being said, I realized in June I took a lot on. I started my second semester of grad school, which began with the 10-day residency. Well, actually we started out at the Black Podfest, Black Pod Festival in Atlanta the last weekend in May. From there, I went straight into my 10-day residency for my MFA program. And right after that, we had our beach trip, my annual family beach trip where my family goes to the beach. And in the midst of all of that, our hosting platform has just did something to our RSS feed that took me days to figure out. So we're in the midst of switching those platforms. And I had some small business issues. And so I made the choice not to do anything for Black Mama Creative Week, and we'll pick back up next year. But like NeKisha said, this is a thing that we're doing.
Yes.
So
also you was gallivanting with white
yeah.
unprotected.
You let
So
that part out.
what Thea
I
is
just
talking
feel like
about,
that's really important.
what Thea is
I mean,
talking
that'll
about
cost you-
is
That'll cost you a lot of energy.
I have curated my life in such a way, and I'm being completely and totally honest, where I really am not, I'm only around Black people. Like, you know, like when I go to the grocery store or anything like that, but I don't even go to the grocery store like that because I order stuff online. But my interaction with people outside of my race is very, very limited. And it's especially not over a long period of time. And so in this MFA program, first of all, it's a 10-day residency. So that's really, really intense to be in anything for 10 days. But I have not been in a space where I am not the majority in a really, really long time. And, you know, I mean, these weren't white folks who, you know, I have issue with or anything like that. But just the feeling of being, you know, in a non-Black space was really jarring for me. And I didn't prepare for that. I really, really didn't prepare for that. And I haven't felt it in a really, really long time. When I moved to LA, I mean, LA is in a good way, sort of a segregated city. And so if you live in the Black part of the city, then you really don't. But also in LA is a like multicultural city. And so even if I'm not interacting with Black people, I'm still not the minority, you know what I'm saying? Like
The only,
only, you know. And so then I moved back here to South Carolina and I began to curate my life in a way that kind of mimicked LA, which takes a lot of privilege. It takes a lot of privilege to do that here. And so that was just really, really jarring for me. And it took me some days to like process that, along with processing my poetry, along with just a lot of other things that I didn't anticipate. And so I'm not beating myself up about it, but I'm learning how to move forward like this, and also what the needs of this podcast are and what the needs of my business are, so that those things can continue to function when I go through periods like this. So it's been a really, really, this first 6 months of the year has really, really been a learning phase for me. And also I've been editing our latest episode, which, if I'm being honest, has been a little triggering for me and hard to get through. It's a beautiful episode. It's a great episode. Our guest is a woman who is a descendant of formerly enslaved Black Americans who left America in, what did she say, 1869?
Oh, you're not gonna get me to lie.
Oh,
I think
and
so.
they went to they went to Liberia, which was a part of, you know, a resettlement of formerly enslaved people in Liberia. And so we have a conversation about, you know, leaving America and what that means for Black folks who were born, on the soil and building in other places. And so it gets tight. It gets tight in
Mhm.
that conversation, but giving everything that's going on and
Yes.
editing that episode, and
A lot.
that's already a very triggering conversation for me, just if I'm being honest, in general, for a lot of reasons.
Mhm.
And so, it's just been a lot. And in the first 6 months of the year, my family has just been dealing with a lot of health stuff. And so it's just been a very learning phase. And I'm learning not to push through. I'm learning to feel my way through things.
Mhm.
And so sometimes that may mean that things don't hit at the time that I want them to hit.
Mhm.
So,
But
yeah.
NeKisha's right. We're here.
Yes, we're here. And this is a celebration of Black Mama, Black moms and
Creativity.
creativity, because we're
Mhm.
talking about Black women who are mothers, or who play mothers on
Mhm.
television. And so we're excited about that. Thank you, NeKisha. We are doing something for Black Mama Creative Week.
We
Thank you,
are. We
NeKisha.
listen for Black Breastfeeding Week. The thing last year was the power of collective rest. And
Mm, yeah.
sometimes we know we're going into a rest. Sometimes we don't.
Mhm. Mhm.
But
Yeah.
that's this week. This year, I don't like the kind of phrasing that we didn't do this week. We are doing it. It's
Right.
happening.
Right.
It is
Right.
I
Black Mama
love that.
Creative Week every single year during these dates.
Oh, I love that,
Mhm.
It is.
NeKisha.
We're just
Mhm.
observing it differently this year, and we're doing. I love that you
Mhm.
are listening to your body
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
and doing what your body and not trying to pile on and do more and do more and do
Hmm.
more. The other thought I had while you were speaking was really interesting because I have not had the privilege of
Mhm.
creating a life
Oh no,
solely
you
surrounded
no.
by folks of
Mhm.
color, and because of that, I kind of
Mhm.
walk through the world in a little different way.
Mhm.
Not a way
Hmm.
that I'm happy with, but it is what it is. And so I was recently on a panel. I'll share this. I was on a panel, and it was all folks of color, all Black folk, and Indigenous folks talking about the work we're doing in our field
Mhm.
to change things. And a white woman came in the comments and lost her mind and did a me and a what, what about, and you know what I mean? Right. And it was bad. It
For
was
those of
really
you who don't know, that's we call that the Thea.
But yeah,
And whenever Thea wants to disappear, because Thea gets real, like when things get awkward, she gets real uncomfortable. so
yeah.
I'm
on
the child of divorce. I'm the
so
child
on
of
our
divorce. I'll be
on
like,
our
Listen.
first video episode, she's like, "How do when I need to go off camera? What I need to do?" And she did this.
no. And the kitchen was like, or you can press this.
Or you can press this.
And I was like, no, I prefer
Just turn
to
off the
just
camera.
kind of
So that's what we
Yeah.
do
here.
when it's uncomfortable. So yeah, so she lost her mind.
She lost her mind in the comments, and it was a real clear difference in the response from those of us who move amongst them all the time, and those of us who have had this really isolated,
Hmm.
like who have built their life to not have to
Hmm.
interact.
Mhm.
The
Hmm.
folks who had gotten out of lockstep with how you respond to
Hmm.
that and how you ignore that,
Yeah.
how you keep moving and let Becky do her
Yeah.
thing over. You know what I mean? Really had a difficult time just continuing the conversation and moving on beyond.
And there's no
And
right or wrong to
yeah,
it because here's the reality. It's
no right
violence,
or wrong.
right?
Right.
So like it's violence. So
Hmm.
some of us have gotten accustomed to how to work around and navigate through the violence. Some of us be like, oh no, that shit is violent. What the fuck is that?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
and both are needed because it's like this is
Yeah.
when it takes being away from things to realize how violent they are. And if we just think of violence as something that takes you outside of being who you are, something that like hijacks that your
Mhm.
right to be in a peaceful, calm, safe mindset and feeling in your body. Oh my God, we're unsafe 99.99% of
Yeah.
the
And
Yes.
I
time without
and
realizing it.
and this wasn't something that I intentionally set out to do.
Right.
It was just choices that I've made that have led to this.
Mm-hmm.
And it is you it does. I mean, these weren't even uh white folks who I said did anything that was violent or anything like that, but just being in a space like that was like, you know what it is? I was it was like I was preemptive. Is that the right? Or I was like um I did have a guard on, like, let
Mhm.
me
Mhm.
Yeah.
just in case. And I usually really don't walk through the world like that. You know what I'm saying? Just
Yeah.
because of the way that my life, is set up. And so
I've also just never walked into like white spaces that just feel chill. They always got an energy, like an anxious energy running through them, or they always have like a.
I
There's
would,
always a certain kind of,
well,
because the culture is centered on a different value system. Like what's important to that culture is different. So I always feel this energy of one, hyper visibility, not just because I'm black, but like
Mhm.
everybody's preoccupied with what they look like and being seen,
Mhm.
and that they're like, and then perfectionism and like high appearance stuff, and then also like just anxiety, like just like this undercurrent
yeah.
of
And so I was coming from an all black space, the Black Pod
oh,
Festival
which was yeah.
in like the blackest city in
Yeah.
Atlanta,
Yeah.
to this white space, and to this very structured, well, because my MFA program is really not highly structured, which is one of the reasons I chose it, but we were on a college campus, which gave it another added layer. And so I feel I couldn't even judge whether or not the space was chill or not, because I was so like,
It wasn't
ooh,
chill.
I've never been in a I haven't been here in a minute,
Yeah.
And even
Mhm.
like, this is my second semester. So my first semester, we were in a hotel. Um, I had, some other people there. So it just, I don't know. It just had, and maybe because this time it was on a college campus and that
Mhm.
added a layer. I don't know. But I know that it was like, ooh, I haven't been in this kind of
Yeah. It can be
space.
jolting,
It
I'm
was
sure.
jolting. It was
Yeah.
jolting.
That's my
And
But
sense.
you didn't even
Yeah.
realize that's what it was until we were processing it when you got back
right.
home.
Yeah.
And I was like, tell me
Yeah.
more about this space. And I was like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
we're just out.
Yeah. It
Most white
was
people with no
yeah.
stones,
It
no
was
crystals,
jolting.
no
It
sage.
was yeah, I didn't have my crystals because I've been walking around just free like that. Like, I wear citrine on my arm, and I have a citrine necklace because that's my crystal for the year, for this birthday year. But citrine is not a
Protection necessarily.
protection
Yeah, it's not
crystal.
known for
it's
that.
it's a
Mhm.
it's a
The
generative
amplifier. Hmm.
right crystal. And so yeah, so that was really number
Yeah.
one. It made me realize how privileged I am to be able to curate the life that I have, um and that I do live in somewhat of a bubble, and also that it's possible to create that world. um
Mm.
so yeah, it was,
Yeah.
I was processing it with
Yeah.
Thea, and all I kept saying was like,
I said, was you out there riding dirty?
yeah,
It sounds like you was riding dirty.
yeah, like
Because
that's what
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
and
responses
her
were.
words was
My
dragging.
words were dragging, like everything. So it was a real learning experience. And I will say, NeKisha, when you haven't encountered those responses, when you've just been with Black people working on healing, working on creativity, and
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
and liberating ourselves from ourselves, when you do get in a space and something like that happens, it's like I be like, ooh,
Or the white people you've been
Yeah.
encountering are very accountable. Like
yes,
they're
yes,
aware and
yes,
they're accountable.
yeah,
And so then you're
Yeah.
yeah.
like, you forget about the rest.
Yeah, and so the white people that I do interact with are very
Hmm.
accountable, are
Hmm.
aware of their blind spots, and even these white people are. But still, there was like, if that would have happened to Keisha, girl,
Yeah. Yeah. And I got in the moment I got it. I was
who that
like,
is this Titus?
yeah, I could see what I could
I'm
see I was
excited.
like, I forgot for a second as it was happening. I was like, oh yeah,
Mhm,
wow. They have not been in this encountered
mhm,
this in a long time. I still see it every day.
yeah,
So I had a
Mhm.
different response to
yeah,
it, right? But I
yeah,
didn't begrudge anybody their response because as Chris Thea said, it was all valid.
yeah,
However you
yeah,
respond in that situation is valid
yeah,
because it is violent.
yeah.
And we
And
don't
I would
necessarily
say there should
yeah.
have been somebody who was was there somebody who was monitoring the
They did, and the
chat? And
person got
okay,
kicked out
yeah,
eventually. But it was still
Whew.
so disruptive to the conversation
Yeah,
and what was happening, all the
yeah,
good that had been happening in the conversation up until that
mhm,
point. And
mm,
yeah, it's clear now
My
in
church now
retrospect.
doing these Chinese herbs. Let
Yeah.
me tell y'all something.
Send some
An
herbs.
Okay,
Instagram
so
post changed
are
our
we on
life.
wait, are we on your church announcements now?
This is it.
Thea?
I'm gonna keep it
Okay.
quick because I know
Church
you got
announcements.
a
Okay.
schedule we on today, and I know we
I
got a
try to
guest. So I'm gonna
time
keep it.
things out, but you know
Listen,
how that
y'all, there was
goes.
an Instagram post. Instagram rarely changes my life, but this was a moment. There was a post and somebody said, "Who is out there? Ain't on no pills, ain't drinking. Who is out there?" They said, "Who is out there raw dogging the decline of mankind?" And I said, "Oh, bitch, me. I am out here raw dogging the
And
decline of mankind."
for those of
Because
us in the South, we have the Constitution for that. You, LA, you ain't got to
I
get
do
too
Y'all,
not.
much.
y'all have been
I
eating
do
pork since
not.
you came out. See,
No,
we've been
I'm
eating
not. And
pork.
I would say for an LA born person, I feel like I have been handling quite a bit. You know what I'm saying?
I
Because
bet y'all when Roe v. Wade came down, I bet y'all was like,
I don't
Classic.
know what they were doing. Because it's stuff like that Black women just look over and be like we don't have that for you right now.
okay.
But so I was like, Spirit, let's talk about plant medicine for a second.
Hmm.
Because
Wait, say it like you said it again.
I
Spirit.
said, Spirit, I is strong, I is beautiful, I is important.
You don't even say it like Southern people. Southern people be like, look, Jesus.
Hey God,
Come on now. What you
hey God.
doing?
So I was like, how do you all feel about me engaging in some plant medicine? Because I really know what I know. We got a plan. I know with the plan, and I'm on the plan. Like, I am committed. Could I get a little help to? I don't want to keep bobbing in and out of what I know. I don't want to keep having all these. It's only so much. This is where I am with healing in general. I need cures, and I'm cultivating cures for people now. I don't want to heal. I don't want to help people heal. I want to cure people, and I want to be cured. And so I was like, I need that, because ain't no point in healing something that they're gonna turn around and gash open
Right.
every other day. So I said, this is going to be this for a period of time. We got that. I need something to take the edge off so I can do my job that you told me to do. And so the first thing that came back to me is years ago, you all remember my acupuncturist told me about these Chinese herbs. These are called PS Calm. And those worked wonders for me during a very stressful time in my life and really helped me. I don't have to take them every day. I can take them as needed, very easy going. And I have some of those. So I was like, bet them is coming back, and them coming back every day. 'Cause let me tell you something. I don't even want my feet to touch the ground. Do you understand? I don't want to even, I have enough. But in my lineage and ancestry, I have enough real life experience with pain, suffering, and discomfort. I plan to take these shits every day, hella high water. That's that one. Then I said, I would also really love some additional plant medicine if you are so willing or able, Spirit. And they said, bet. 30 minutes later, I got a phone call from somebody who don't normally call me. They text, but they call. And they were like, I'm just calling to say I love you. Just wanted to hear your voice. Also, have you ever tried blah, 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 blah? And I was like, okay, Spirit. Because it's like a zillion plants out here. Ain't got time to go through all of them. Hell, I've been lost 10 more rights by the time I figure that shit out. I need something now. And they were like, I'm going to send you some. So currently, here's what I will say to all of y'all. Don't raw dog this time. Find something natural, but find something effective, because staying seated, staying in your knowing, and holding on to what you know is actual reality will be a luxury and a privilege. And just, it already is, right? To hold on to reality right now is a privilege. We are not dealing with a mental health issue anymore. I repeat, this is not a mental health issue. There is nothing mental health can do to combat this soul disease that we are now dealing with. It has gone from the psyche into the soul, and that is the only way you can explain how someone can be so detached from their soul that they can shoot their grandmother in the face, go into a school, shoot up a bunch of kids, like that. People can just take away rights that women need to survive sexual violence, to survive medical emergencies. That it's just there's just such a gaping soul wound that you need whatever gentle, comforting. Now, sometimes I can get that in a place. When I travel outside the country, I don't need this stuff. I don't need it. But if I am on this here soil, I actually need something to actively help me stay seated in this body and continue to be who I know I am and do the work that I came here to do.
Yeah.
So maybe we should explore that. I have somebody on the show who focuses on plant medicine, but I definitely like, don't let that superhuman Black woman thing do the thing to you.
I'm actually working on having some Black gardeners on the show right now.
Yeah, and people who specialize in plant medicine specifically, right? Because because I garden, but I'm not into. I don't know plant medicine.
Yeah.
And so I think that I move intuitively with that on the physical level. But what I needed was something that could keep me in my body, but keep my mind clear. I didn't want something that just totally takes me out of the picture. And so, you know, there's different things you can try for very different reasons. Different plants have different functions. But I will say that I do realize that was definitely some superhuman Black girl magic shit that I was operating on, thinking that I had to not use anything to help ease my own suffering during this time. And so that is that. Also, the last thing I want to share is some medicine in the form of a book called Daughter, Drink This Water. The author's name is, I think it's pronounced Jaiya John.
That sounds lovely.
It's actually, it's super lovely. And the dedication set, and I think this is just a good book for us to all have and read during this time. Even if you read like a section a day, but the dedication part says, "Daughter, I'm going to tell you a secret. You are the best thing that ever happened to you. When you feel this and know this, you will be free." And everything from that point on reads that way. I pretty much weep every morning, gratitude for this, for somebody just pouring. It feels like water, like somebody just pouring water over you every day as you read it. The author is Jaiya John. So
I'm putting it in the chat.
That
offering some medicine.
That sounded like our responsive reading, ma'am, because that just touched me in a way.
Oh, we forgot our responsive reading. Okay,
I feel like that was it. I feel like
I love that, but we got to do the Black Mama Magic cards. We got to sell these boxes, boo.
Oh, look at that face! Did you see that face?
We got to get these people on these cards.
That was for the private chat. That wasn't.
Sorry. Well, it is what it is. It is what it is.
I was, but now I'm moved out of that moment.
Sorry. That was my white ancestor. Sorry. But the link to the book is in the chat.
That's beautiful. I do like that book though.
Thea, are you done with your church announcement?
Yeah, I just want to get his medicine. My birthday is the end of the month. Turn it up, turn it up. We do have an in-person event we're having. So you can go to my website or my Instagram to find out more about the event, especially if you're in LA and you want to go. It's in the Sunroom in Long Beach. We're going to do a reading, and I'm getting special drinks made and mocktails and all kinds of stuff. So it's going to be nice.
I'm very jealous.
Okay. So you're finished. You're finished with your church announcements?
Okay. I'm good.
Well, I have a surprise church announcement for Thea.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Are the people ready?
I'm ready.
Are the people ready?
I'm ready. Oh, wait, it's coming up on the screen. Oh.
You're live on the unseen.
Okay, everybody be quiet.
Okay.
This is Thea's commercial for Juneteenth. And GoDaddy. I don't know how to say it. Was a partnership between Thea and GoDaddy, and she wrote a poem about Juneteenth. So here we go. Let me know if y'all can hear it in the chat.
I say that this came out the day before Beyonce's video came back, because I want people to know that me and Beyonce be on the same wavelength.
Okay, so let me know. I want to make sure y'all can hear this in the chat. Well, hold on. Let me make sure I did.
I
my
come
share
from
right.
people.
Hold on 1 second. Let me make sure I did my share right. Hold on. Let me make sure I clicked the right button. Let me make sure here.
Thank you for not letting me forget I did that. See how we do?
Oh,
NeKisha reminded you.
NeKisha reminded me. Let's see. Bring it back up. So hits. We should be the first person. Okay, let me see. Because I have not had an opportunity to share it on our thingamajig. So I wanted to make sure that I shared it here.
NeKisha, this PS calm. You're gonna be like, this is why God brought us together as friends.
It's like ravens
Why?
in flight.
Okay, so I'm just gonna have to do it like that. Okay, so here we go. Here we go again. All right, here we go, Thea.
Yay.
You ready?
I'm
Okay.
ready.
So this is Thea's commercial, her partnership with GoDaddy for Juneteenth.
I come from people who built their lives
On the
Can
unseen,
y'all see it?
who jumped
Why doesn't it let me
from slave
pause?
ships like ravens in flight when there was no sight of shore behind or ahead of them, who fought wars for freedoms that they weren't even guaranteed, and sowed seed in lands that they couldn't even own, marching with the insight to make inalienable rights accessible for all who would reach these shores. Before they knew they were free, 901 days after emancipation was proclaimed, Black bodies stained by Texas sun knew there would come a Juneteenth. They knew there would be a you and a me. And so we commemorate that knowing with more than hashtags and ice cream. We remember them when we remember every day to live with the deep knowing that we are free. And like them, we can shape the unseen. Yay!
You
And
break
then
my soul.
what I
It
love,
feels
let
like
me tell
it's
you,
on cue.
I
A
come little shout out to GoDaddy. They didn't put no logo on that joint. They only put my
All you.
website. It was like so genuinely
That's how
about the
you.
content.
That's how you do Juneteenth.
Yeah,
To all
that's
the
it.
corporations, that's how you do Juneteenth.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
yeah,
thought
I
at least
just
they're gonna put a logo. They didn't put no
yeah.
logo.
When I saw that, I was like, that's how you do it. And I just noticed, yes, it's exactly like Beyonce's video. I didn't put that.
I
I didn't put
listen.
that together.
I've been
Yeah.
saying we on a
Yeah.
frequency since pre
Yeah.
Lemonade,
Yeah.
but people, we always, I catch it. But this time I was like, did you see that? Did y'all see that?
Look at my family. Listen to my family. This is my sister right here. She's like, yes,
Yeah,
Leo. She's the Leo. And my sister April, because I shared this in our group, in our family chat. I shared the video and I said, my friend did this commercial. And she's like, oh, I didn't know it was Thea. So now I'm going to get a whole bunch of text messages saying I didn't tell them that it was you. So, but yeah. Yeah.
Yay.
So that
That's
was
great.
beautiful. I really, really,
Thank you for bringing that.
I'm really proud of you. That was really, really beautiful. And I love the way that GoDaddy did that. I really, really
just
love the way that
continue
GoDaddy
to
did
like
that. Yeah.
really look at that relationship as the model for what I want.
Yeah.
Working with
Yeah.
corporations.
Beautiful,
I
beautiful,
love that.
beautiful.
That's a great announcement. Absolutely.
NeKisha, you want to go next?
Pray for me. That's,
That's your
Are we just doing prayer requests?
jump right in. It's just good.
That's it. That's all. That's it, NeKisha. That's
Let me get
it.
this. Let me get this PS call order.
That's it. Okay.
Prayers.
NeKisha is on the prayer list. So I do have a prayer request. I want to pray for all our reproductive
Yeah.
justice day ones who've been
Yeah.
fighting not
Mhm.
for access to abortion, but for reproductive justice, which
Justice and
includes
rights.
access to abortion, but also includes a plethora of other things. I want to send a prayer out to them. I want to send love out to them because they have been on this since day one. They're not new to this. They are true to this. They are prepared. They are ready to go, and they don't care what the court says. They are going to continue to fight for justice and women's bodies. And if you are trying
I
to figure
know.
out something to do, this is my t-shirt. Can everybody see it?
Let
It's
this radicalize
Let
you.
this radicalize you. So Miriam, I think it's Miriam Kiba. I think I'm saying her name right. She's also known as Prison Culture on Twitter. She is selling these shirts. And if you buy these shirts, it doesn't go to Planned Parenthood. It goes to local people, grassroots organizations locally who are helping people get access to what they need. So please support her. Buy this shirt. It goes directly to them. She has this shirt and she also has some other shirts, but that's why I'm wearing it today, to honor those reproductive justice warriors, fighters who've been in this game since day one, who have always said we need a better plan so that this so that this can have longevity and sustainability. So I just want to keep them in our prayers and keep them lifted up. My other announcement
wait. I want to answer
Oh,
the
go
prayer
ahead.
list before you do that. But
Go ahead.
as you were
Yeah.
speaking,
Mhm.
I want to call out specifically abortion doulas because I think that their work has
Yes.
shifted significantly, and
Mhm.
there's going to be some legal elements to
Yeah,
their work
yeah.
that they may not have even
That they're
considered before.
they're to protect them against being criminalized and
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
these
So
things.
please
Yeah.
hold up those folks whose job it is to support folks through this particular time in their life and their journey. And can I add Brittany Griner to the prayer list?
Yes, you
Absolutely,
can add Brittany
please.
Griner to
Yes,
the trailers.
please.
Her trial starts on June 1st.
They showed pictures of her today in
July
court,
1st.
I
which
know.
I'm
Yeah.
very,
Yeah.
very, very,
Yeah.
very concerned about her. Yeah.
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 So
And
please.
her wife.
Yeah.
And
Add her to the
Sherelle
prayers
Griner.
as well. Yes.
Yes.
I will put the link for this t-shirt in the chat. And I want to say something when you talked about abortion doulas. I want people to understand that things don't just happen. This is not happenstance. Things happen because laws were made through legislation. There was a time when you wouldn't be hard pressed to find a Black midwife or a Black doula. There was a time when that really happened. But you know what began to happen? Being midwifery became criminalized so that white men could take over birthing. And that was linked to money for research and also money for Medicaid from the government. And they got to a point where they outlawed midwifery in some states. So things don't just happen, people. Things become law. It's not just happenstance. Everybody just wakes up one morning and decides, oh, we're going to criminalize abortion doulas. So we got to be vigilant, or you have to support people who are vigilant. If you don't know what to do, support reproductive justice warriors, hold them up in prayer, and find grassroots people, like NeKisha said, abortion doulas who are on the ground doing this work and have been in this game since day one.
Absolutely.
So that, I don't know what that was, but we're live. That proves it.
That was me. I bumped the mic. My apologies.
Was that
We're
you?
good.
My church announcement is we it's sign up. Who's calling me? Oh gosh. Sorry, people. I thought I had my phone on Do Not Disturb. So my church announcement is to sign up for our email list so that you can learn about all the things that we have going on. Our Magic Evermore boxes are on sale right now. They are back on sale. Finally got it together. They are back on sale right now. So when you purchase a Magic Evermore box, you're investing in our platform, and this is a platform curated by 3 Black women who are actively creating spaces of healing, creativity, and liberation for Black people. So please invest in us to keep us going and to keep us sustainable. So I will put the link for that in the chat. But when you sign up for our email list, you get a discounted rate on the boxes. So I
You
think
just wait. You just remind me of one other thing. I'm sorry, Crystal.
okay.
That I have a special offering that I'll be offering, but it's not public. So the only way to have access to it is if you are on the email list or a part of the Holder Sacred communities or one of those communities I'm involved in. But you can sign up on the email list or with the text community. That number is 213, I believe, 377-1827, and you can text sacred to that number. But this offering will not be on any social media. This offering is just too intimate. So if you do want to be a part of that or know what's going on with that, please use those avenues. Other than that, I won't be sharing it publicly.
And we'll have all of those links in our I'll put all those links in the chat. And I just also want to note that this, y'all are getting it live, so y'all can see like the editing that I have to do to move things around so that it looks a lot smoother than it looks right now. So it's all the more reason why y'all should be buying these Magic Evermore
Buy the
boxes,
box.
so that
Please,
so that
please.
we can build, grow, get some help. Okay,
So I can
build,
stay
grow, get
gainfully
some help.
employed and she can edit out all the things that would affect my checks. Please, please. Thank you.
Oh, because NeKisha told us to
Frozen.
take something out one time that would have just lost NeKisha all her monies. They would have just
I
lost
might
her
have
all
lost
her
some money
monies.
today. I might have. That's why
You
we need
might,
to go.
I don't
We need
think
to
you
step away
lost
from
any money
live. We're gonna
today.
see. We're
I
gonna
don't.
see.
She said we're gonna step away from life.
I don't okay. All right. Okay. So that concludes our church announcements, prayer list request, and praise reports. Make sure that you are following us on all social media platforms, YouTube, Instagram. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't just, oh, I hit my mouth on the mic. Don't just sit here
Whew.
and watch. Hit
It's
that
rough
little
in these streets.
subscribe. Hit that little subscribe button down there, somewhere down there. Hit that button and share,
that
because you
button.
shouldn't keep the magic to yourself. This is like so great. Don't keep it to yourself. Okay, we're gonna do a quick responsive reading using our Black Mama magic cards. Okay, NeKisha, you ready?
Yes. Let's see. Let's
Okay.
see what the cards be knowing. Let's see what comes
The
up.
cards
And if
be
y'all
knowing.
hear water in the background, that's Thea's
That's
fountain
me. And if you
in
see
her
me
garden.
texting to my 2 children in the house, that's also happening.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So the one that came up is called Impossible You.
Okay. Impossible you. Okay. What card number is it?
Card number 16.
Card number 16. Thea, you have
Mhm.
any numerology for us when it comes to that?
1 + 6 is 7. You know, that's yummy, y'all. Healing.
There we
Mhm.
go. There
We
we
need
go.
you. Yeah, come through. Dear Mama, long before you were even a thought, somebody prayed for you. Somebody asked for protection and blessings and guidance for you. Somebody was thankful for you and sought the heavens on your behalf.
Mm.
Somebody who could never have imagined life today knew that their wildest dreams would be realized in you. What can limit dreams made into flesh?
Didn't we need that right now?
I always feel like we'd be like, who wrote that
Ooh.
one? 'Cause maybe all our spirits just melted together. Because sometimes I'll be like, did I write that? No. Did somebody else? It sound like something I write.
I don't know. I think it's
Ooh.
me. I think it's mine.
I think
It's
it's
all,
yours.
all
I
ours.
thought it was mine, but I was like, no, I didn't write that. But I think that's
Yeah.
yours, NeKisha. We
Yeah.
need that right now.
Mhm.
We need that. We need to remember that.
Yeah.
We really, really
Daughter,
need to
drink this
remember
water.
that.
That's
That, yeah. Same thing. Same
Mhm.
thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Cards be
Love it.
knowing. All right.
Cars be knowing. Cars be knowing. Oh, and I just also want to give a quick praise report. Thank you to Black Pod Collective, who put on Black Pod Festival, which was excellent, wonderful. Ona and her
Mhm.
crew did their thing. It was beautiful. It went down in Atlanta. We had a great session. It felt like being at home. If we were affirmed, we loved it. Cannot wait to next year. Tickets are going on sale for next year at the end of this year. And if you can make a higher investment in that festival, I would say do it. It was great. It was like everything that black podcasters need. Okay, so
I'm gonna go to that one.
moving
I'm gonna go.
on. You're gonna go to that one. You're gonna be out of quarantine.
I didn't see
Okay.
it.
Depends
Okay.
on what the situation is by then.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Could be
Well,
could be
she said she was gonna-
monkeypox. Could be
I know,
monkeypox
she said
everywhere.
she was
I don't know.
gonna-
But I'm gonna say
Okay,
today,
okay,
I'm going.
Okay, you're
I'm going
going.
to
Okay. Okay. So, oh, it says my okay. I don't know what that is. Okay, so we're gonna keep rolling. So here we go. Our mac and cheese segment. Thea, are you ready?
I'm ready. I get to do the
Okay.
bio for our guests for our mac and cheese segment.
Yay!
And I got to eat slutty vegan with this person, which was awesome.
Oh
So
yeah, shout out to the
was
slutty vegan.
Yes.
Let me
I know
tell you.
this is why Black Pot Fest is so awesome, because you get to actually spend time with people that you are fans of their work. And so this is a perfect example
Yeah.
of that.
And slutty vegan was so good that this guy walked by when we were eating it in the car, and he could hear us chewing. And so he
Yeah,
was
he
like,
did.
"What y'all eating? Is it that
I
good?"
can't, oh,
And we was
I
sitting,
got the
yeah,
slushy too.
yeah, y'all got to get alcohol.
It
I
was
was
called the
driving, so I
Wood,
didn't get
and
it. Yeah,
it was
it
really
was good.
it was
It was
hitting.
good
You
though. The
like that?
fries was
Okay, here we
banging.
go. Dr.
Okay.
Michele Foss, she, her, challenges us all to reconsider our relationship with television. She is the creator, producer, and host of The TV Doctor, a podcast in which she uses her training, instinct, and empathy to prescribe the very best TV show to heal your emotional ailments. When she is not making the rounds as a speaker and podcaster, she is a professor of rhetoric and media at Sacramento State University, where she teaches classes including television criticism, rhetoric, and social influence and media aesthetics. You should feel free to greet her with the Vulcan salute or a few words of Klingon. She's also fluent in RuPaul's drag racisms and lyrics from 80s music. She's an advocate for social justice, an activist for anti-racism, and a firm believer in putting done items on your to-do list just for the pleasure of crossing them off.
All
I believe she's
right.
an earth sign. I think we
All
counted that.
right.
Please welcome to the
Hi.
show our boo, Michele Foss.
Hi, hello, my love.
Welcome back.
Hi.
Welcome
Hi.
to the
Yeah,
Black
yeah.
Mama Magic Room. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so
Thank
happy to have you
you.
here. I
Thank
gotta get
you.
some music up in here when people come up in here. I gotta
Yeah.
put that on my
Ooh.
production list. I gotta get that up
Yes.
in here. Okay. All right. So do you want to jump into it? We good to go?
Yeah, let me
How you
tell
feeling,
these
Michele? You
kids.
ready?
I'm feeling fantastic. And I am an earth sign, by the way. I'm a
I
Virgo.
thought so. I remember we discussed
Oh,
it.
you
Yeah.
are. She is
I
a
remember we discussed
true.
that. That's why I
Big Virgo
was like, oh, this is a
energy.
Virgo.
Is a true. Oh, Brittany Fields gave you the Vulcan sign.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. Mwah, 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 mwah. Diary of Miss Champagne over there.
I love it.
Yes.
Hi, thanks for joining us today, Brittany. Fun. Okay, I'm
So
excited about this.
the first question we like to kick off with is,
Yes.
what were you watching on television 10 years ago? And did you think you'd be watching what you're watching now? I would love to know what you're watching now too, because
Oh,
you
yeah.
go through that little dry patch
Mhm.
in between
Mhm.
seasons, but it's getting juicy right now. It's a
It
lot of good
is.
stuff. It's a
There's
lot
a
of good
lo-
stuff.
well, there's too much stuff
Yeah,
to
that's what always
even
happens.
watch
Yeah.
all of it, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that happened roughly about 10 years ago. So we're talking summer of 2012, right? And
Uh-huh.
so that was a real renaissance time for these big ticket cable serials, right? So we're
Mhm.
talking True Blood, we're
Mhm.
talking Breaking Bad. So all of these really big, expensive shows. Teen Wolf was another
Mhm.
one that premiered in
Yeah.
summer of 2012. But for me, summer is the season of trashy reality TV.
Mhm.
So I was definitely watching Big Brother.
All
I
the
was
housewives.
watching any
Can't watch it. I can't
housewife
do it.
related thing that they would throw in front of me,
related.
I would grab it.
Do you watch
Um,
You watch the basketball ones?
Girl,
That
I
was
was
a
on
2012.
Basketball Wives.
That
though.
was a
Stomach hurt.
I
2012.
was
It makes my
on
stomach hurt.
Basketball
Yes.
Wives.
And
That-
then
I was on Mob Wives.
Mob
Did you ever-
Wives loved Mob
Mob
Wives.
Wives was my shit.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
this is the real test. If you are true reality,
Okay.
do you
come on.
watch Love After Lockup or Prison Lockup?
I haven't
I
watched
see
that.
those commercials.
I watched
Of
that.
course, of
I
course.
didn't go there.
Love After Lockup.
You said Love
We're
After-
doing pretty much that whole suite of programming.
Yep.
I'm all over it. Love.
Love,
It,
love,
it
love.
can't be worse for the human soul.
It is like no. It is like a diet of pure flaming hot Fritos.
It
It-
is.
yes,
That's it.
with
That's
with
all
a
you do.
marshmallow coating.
And then you wash it down with the most
Yes.
fucked up of sodas, Mountain Dew.
Correct. Like
Like,
Four
It's
Loko.
fascinating.
Yeah,
It's all
yeah, yeah.
fascinating.
It's just,
Yeah.
and you can't stop your eyes.
It
You
can't
stop
be
your
worse
eyes.
for us. It
It
cannot
makes
be
my
worse.
stomach hurt. Like
Yes.
to see Black people,
Yes.
well, especially like Black women, when I see
Yeah.
them relate to each other like that, like I literally get it. I
But
get
girl,
queasy
you
in my stomach.
cannot
I
stop.
get
And the
queasy.
language that you have with other Black women who watches it afterwards,
Correct.
it's like, oh
Right.
no, but like it's a whole culture
Yes.
and community. When
Like
you
It
I
is.
talk
can
to
It
them.
is.
say, for example, I can say, I am so glad Juan Dixon is not here right now.
Yeah.
And if you follow the Real Housewives of Potomac, then you know exactly
know
what
You know
that
exactly what I'm talking
means.
about.
You
And that's
may
that.
not even know who Juan Dixon is.
I don't know.
I certainly didn't, but yeah.
I can drop at least 5 of those from Atlanta Housewives. At least
Easy.
5.
Easy. Close your legs to married men. Right?
That's it.
Like
Easy.
We
Just
can
do
go
it.
all the way back. So
Well, I do know what that's about, and that's coming
yeah.
back to haunt her right now. I do know
Well-
what that's about because it's coming back to haunt her right now. Yeah, I do know. Okay,
Love
CG Love is
Yes.
here. She St. Louis born and raised, living in Indiana.
Hey, CG,
Indi-
that's my
Indianola,
girl.
Iowa.
Yeah, I don't know how to say that. She's living in
Indianola.
Iowa right now. So thank you. She says she's so glad that she caught us. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Yay.
Yeah,
see you.
I can't watch.
Yeah.
Okay, if y'all are watching
So
reality
you're currently
shows,
watching that. You're currently summer binging.
Currently, right.
Trash.
So
if you're watching us, drop in the chat if you're watching reality shows and what you're watching.
And what you loved 10 years ago.
yeah,
We're on
yeah,
10
yeah.
years ago, right? Yeah.
10 years
right,
ago.
yeah, 10 years ago. Right. So there's one more show that I want to just remind everyone of that did premiere in the summer of 2012, and that was a show called Hollywood Exes. It was a show featuring.
Did you watch that,
Um,
Thea?
I might have.
So
I didn't go
I did
hardcore,
not.
but I did.
So, because listen to the lineup. Listen who was in it. Nicole Murphy, so Eddie Murphy's ex.
Oh, wait. Yes, I did. Mhm.
Oh, yes, I did. Will's ex.
Cherie, right?
Will's ex.
Will
Oh,
Smith's
I
ex.
watched that. I did watch
Yeah.
that. Now that you said Cherie was on it, I
Maite
did watch
Garcia,
that.
Prince's
Yeah,
ex.
Prince. I did
and
watch it. R.
Drea
Kelly's
Kelly.
ex. Yeah, I did. Well, everybody said.
Right?
That one wasn't
Yes.
so bad. I did get a little queasy when they started asking R. Kelly's ex about whether or not
Anything.
she
But
about
Drea.
Aaliyah
Oh, Drea.
and all
now
that.
we
It
see
was-
how that has resolved.
Yeah.
You know, my
and 30
husband
years is
reminded
not
me
enough.
of a reality show. I'm gonna take it's further back than 10 years, but to tell you how long we've been this fucked up.
Yes.
Do y'all remember
Yeah.
the Swan when they
Oh,
would
yeah.
do that full plastic
Yeah.
surgery
Yes.
Listen,
makeover?
here's a fun
Yeah.
fact for you.
I do.
So if you
I
watch the Real
forgot we watched
Housewives
that
of
trash.
Orange County, Orange County, yeah, Orange County, Heather Dubrow, right? You know which one she is.
Mm.
Her husband was one of the surgeons on the Swan.
On the Swan.
So
Yeah, I
that's
was
part
like-
of how they
I
got
was
all
like-
that money.
Because Mark was like telling our kids, yeah, there used to be a reality show. And I was like, did we
Yeah.
do that? And I was like,
Yes.
oh, we did.
We
That
did.
was
Yes.
off. They would mark up their faces and their
Oh, yeah.
bodies, and
Yeah,
we
for
watched
our viewing pleasure.
it.
Yeah.
Just that.
CG Love is watching Married at First Sight. I do like
Yes.
Married at First Sight.
I did watch.
I
some
think that's really
Salami.
interesting.
I
Yeah,
did watch.
I-
some
I
Salami.
love Married at First
I
Sight.
think that's really interesting.
There's another podcast called Girlfriends and Goals podcast where they
Mhm.
do a live recap of that
Oh
show.
wow.
Ah,
I'm into that.
So shout out to them.
Yeah.
I only
and I'm
started
gonna be
watching it in the
helping them
last
out
few
with those
years,
recaps
but I
as
won't
well.
miss a season now. And it's garbage. It's trash. I get
You
so
think
angry.
it's garbage? I think it's really
I get so
interesting.
angry at it.
I don't think it's garbage either. I mean, it's
No.
there's parts of it
Some
that
of the
are
folks are
absolutely
garbage.
I mean,
No,
here's
no,
the thing
no,
about
okay,
it. You're always
true,
going to have this
true,
question where
true,
you're like,
true.
what did you expect?
but that's
I mean,
40
that's
years
going to
ago,
come
right?
out like 50,000 times while you're watching it. Like,
Of
what do these
course.
people actually think they were walking into?
Right,
But
right.
but it's still fascinating. I mean, I would say also, I could say it was research as a therapist, but reality shows are fucking fascinating. It's like,
They
come on,
are.
They
like,
are.
As a
Like,
those are my
social
favorite TV.
as a
Yeah.
social
Absolutely.
experiment, it really is fascinating.
What's the one with
like
the hip hop one where they do the hip hop couples that come together in the house
bro,
and the black doctor and judge
Oh,
the judge.
Marriage Boot Camp.
marriage boot
That
camp.
one is always very interesting.
No, but
to
it's
me.
not hip hop. They have a hip hop version.
Edition.
Oh, okay,
because
that's what I
the
okay.
people because let's keep it real, the black people on the show apparently are the most entertaining, whatever
Entertaining.
that means.
Yeah.
And
they
so
give
the
it their own.
spinoff is
Yeah.
they always have a
Right.
hip hop version of it. But
You know
now
what
there's
interests me the
like
most about that one? Outfits. I'd be like, don't we know we on camera all the time? And like,
no, I
we
think
done
it's
packed
intentional.
different-
Oh,
though.
they know.
No, they know. I think those outfits are
Mhm.
intentional.
Agreed.
I just
I
think
think
they
those
give people a
outfits-
lot more credit
yeah.
than
I
they deserve based on
I
an
think those are
outfit.
intentional. I think those are intentional. But now there's even a spinoff of Love and Hip Hop where it's like couples retreat or
Yeah.
whatever, and I saw that commercial.
They milk those
Well,
franchises,
They
whatever they
sure
can get out of them.
do.
Yeah,
And it's,
yeah.
I mean, it's not a hard reach to imagine
not.
how these couples
And
or
it's
these
not
individuals.
it's not expensive to produce.
No,
Oh God,
Of course,
no.
no, it's so
What was
cheap.
the black lady that used to do them? Her
Oh,
name was
Mona-
on
Mona.
every-
Mona Scott, she still does them.
She's
She
getting
still
all
does
that
them.
money. Yeah.
Yeah, she still does
But
them. Yeah.
but it's not hard to imagine these individuals being like, "Hey, do you want to just pretend that we're a couple so we can go and get this
money.
extra bag
Right.
over here?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I think everybody thinks they're going to end up like Bethany from Real Housewives
They are
of New
not.
York. They think they're going to end up being
not gonna
starting a brand and becoming, a millionaire or a brand. So I think, now that's the end goal. I do think Married at First Sight is interesting because to me, it questions like, I've always been fascinated by arranged marriages, not
Yeah.
the
Mhm, mhm.
suppressive part when it comes
Sure,
to women,
sure.
but like the idea of family involvement
Yeah.
in choosing your intimate
Your
partner. And I
partner.
remember
Yeah.
hearing this Black woman speak about that when you go on a first date, you should go in community.
Mhm.
You shouldn't go one-on-one because you may have blind spots that your
Yeah, that's-
community can see.
That makes sense.
And the person knows you got a community.
Yeah, that she said
That's
that
right.
as
Backing
well.
you up.
That's
So
right.
I think,
Love
I
that.
mean, it's not their family picking the person, but I think having like sitting down with people, talking to them and saying, well, this is who you are, but this is what you say you want, and
Yeah.
coming face to face with like that reality. I think, I don't know. I think that's very, very intriguing.
I would also say one thing it has in common with like the kink community. Watch me throw this line. Is
Here we go.
negotiation.
Yeah.
Right? Is that like there's active negotiation?
Yes.
Most people that
Yes.
enter into a traditional vanilla het cis marriage do not actually negotiate those things.
Right.
They don't think of those terms. They just like
Love
we
that.
love each other.
They look at it as
Yeah.
and
But
also,
I liked me some clarity
Let's-
around the fact
Yeah.
that this is illegal and this is a contract and
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
are negotiating these
Right.
terms. And
Yeah.
if you
And
don't
actually-
violate these terms,
and actually the conversations that you're having beyond the romantic
romanticism,
realm,
girl, which is the
like
thing.
it forces you into some interesting conversations up
Yeah.
front.
Up
Yeah.
front.
So yeah.
Because like okay, right here under Sector B code
Yeah.
39, I told you
Did you
real
not
clear
see the
20
asterisk
years ago
and the
that if
footnote
your ass
right here?
ever
Yeah.
Yeah.
right, I just and
Yeah.
and it reminds you it's something to be renegotiated.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
I think there, when you do things like that, like I'm saying in both situations, that's why submission is possible. Because I'm not just submitting blindly, I'm negotiating and I am entering into contract. And based on this agreement, I feel
Mhm.
comfortable then releasing all the anxiety that comes with
Yeah.
I hope and I wonder if
Yeah.
this person
Yeah.
gonna do X, Y, and Z
Yeah.
over time.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
have to worry about
Yeah.
that. It's in
Yeah.
contract.
That's an interesting one for me. I do
Yeah.
tune in. I do tune in to that one.
I do love that one. And there's also an Australian version of
Oh,
that
that's even
show.
better. It's better.
It's,
for
it
me.
is.
Is it
It's way
NeKisha?
better.
It's better.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's a
Woo!
completely different
Everything.
formula. They make them
Soup
all
to
meet
nuts,
together for a They make them
Ah.
all meet together for
Yeah.
dinner once a week, and they hash out problems in front of each other as
That's right.
couples. It's a whole different formula for the show. It works better.
And
I
they
think.
decide every single week instead of like
If they're
staying
gonna
for
stay
the
in
8
it.
weeks and then decide. They decide every week whether they want to stay
Oh, I like that
or
better.
separate.
Yep.
I can
I
watch
like that
TV
better.
with you all day because I got like 3 shows
Yeah,
on the
I like
Barbie
that.
You're
right
like,
now.
and then
that I'm
this,
gonna-
and then
but I'm
this,
going to try
and
to
then
focus on the question. I'm going to try to
Okay,
focus on
yeah,
the question.
question.
So,
Right.
okay, there one
Yeah.
question. We are live. This
did
is how
I-
it happens, y'all. No, you
exactly.
you did good. I need to ask you a new question. That's my
Okay.
bad.
All right.
You did good.
Next
Okay,
question.
here's my new question.
Preachers of LA. Preachers of LA. I just want to
Oh,
say I
you know
saw
what?
that. I watched it. And
You know, I could. I have
I
too much
did.
church
I did.
trauma.
You know, I must
You
say,
are.
and this is so bad. I watched it and I could watch it because I wasn't watching Black women, I was watching Black men, and so I could stomach it a little bit better. I did watch Preachers of LA. I did. And
There you go.
There's something coming out with a choir too.
oh,
I don't know what that one is.
You know,
But I did watch Preachers of LA, and I must say, I think the Saints was like, we got to get it off. We already losing folks in the church. We got to get that off with the
We
quick.
I
gotta
wish
go.
they'd had
Yeah,
more
I think-
seasons because I was all in. You know, I knew some of them folks
That is
personally.
fine.
I need
Oh, I
some
know you
roast
did.
smoke.
Nikisha
I
was
got
having
to
a
know.
CG
I
love
had-
watching
I
roast.
know
all the
stories.
shows. I
I
When
got
see.
stories.
Nikisha launches that podcast, I will do something in the background.
You know,
When
Bishop
Nikisha
Noel
does
Jones
that,
married Loretta. He just married Loretta
did he?
from back in
Loretta
that
who?
show. All his friends who was on all those episodes, they just got married. T. Finally put a ring
Take
on
that.
it. Isn't that something? Okay, move on.
You know, I used to be a member of that congregation at church, and I'm quiet.
Was
That's
Loretta a
it.
friend then? She was a friend for
I
like 30
believe.
years.
I feel like she was a friend of mine, Kelly Price. Okay. Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I know.
CG Love says she watches Love and Blind. Love is
I have
Blind.
watched.
She watches
With
all the
him?
shows.
I
Yeah.
have watched
So
all
she also
those captions.
mentioned Put a
Read
Ring
all the
on It,
captions. Yeah.
which is an own show.
Oh,
And
it's so
Love is
terrible.
another
That was on
show
an old show
on.
once for reality TV. I
Yeah,
don't
you
know. That was my
were.
little debut in reality TV.
Yeah.
I was on it.
You were on
What
Family
show
or
were you
Fiance.
on?
Family or Fiance.
Family or Fiance.
I watched that. My friend was on that
I was on
show too.
Family or Fiance.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Therapist.
That is on
She
my
was there.
TiVo
Yeah.
season pass. Keep till I
I
delete.
was the girl in the couple's name was Jasmine. She was having stuff with her mom.
Okay.
And they brought me on. They never brought me back because I didn't really listen to the producers. But
Ma'am.
they were in my ear like, ask about this. And I was like,
Oh,
let's talk
so
about it.
you were
Because
get rid of that.
because
Okay, so you were
you see,
rebel.
how you gonna come have me on here to talk about it and you telling me what the issue is, but you the producer. You know what you want the issue to be, but you know what the issue
That's
actually
what that
is.
is. Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway, that was
Yeah.
my first and last debut reality.
Oh,
It won't be
on
your last.
that
It won't
show.
be your last.
But I
on that
shined. I was a star.
You
That's
I
did.
know
right.
you
I was
were.
a star.
Bright.
Okay.
I'm gonna go
so-
hunt that episode down.
Okay,
no one
so
knows.
the
Question two.
next question.
Okay.
What show would you prescribe right now for those suffering from strong Black woman syndrome?
Yeah. So this is a tough one. This is a really tough question because we need to be clear about this fact. Television is at least in part, if not mostly, responsible
Yes. I
for
was just
us
thinking that.
having that strong Black
Thank
woman
you.
syndrome, right?
Let's do it. The shirt, you see
Feel it.
the
Feel
kimono
it.
had to come off. The kimono had to come off.
So
Let
I
that
don't know if they were
statement
ready. I
radicalize
don't know if
you.
they came ready
Let that
today.
statement
let it
radicalize
radicalize
you.
you. So it's kind of like, you're going back to your dealer for a fix.
Michelle, did you come prepared? Did you come prepared, Michelle? Michelle came prepared.
I'm loving
Let's
this. I'm
go.
about to sit back.
Okay, let's go. Okay.
So it's a tough
Get the
thing,
shoulder
right?
shimmy.
Because you the representations on television of Black women have a tendency to be on the extremes, right? So either
Mhm.
she's a superwoman and nothing affects her, which that's a very easy path to get us to strong Black woman syndrome, right?
Mhm.
Or it's the exact opposite, right? So so Black women and especially Black mothers are suffering on television. We have these images of Black women
Defeated.
suffering in ways that we don't see in other women, and we definitely don't see in men. And yet they are expected to be as hilarious and glamorous and accomplished as everybody else in the show, right?
Mm.
So the Black woman on television is not allowed to kind of take a moment, right? So if we imagine kind of what would the actual remedy in real life, what would that remedy to strong Black woman syndrome look like? It's like, give me a second, right? Allow me to raise my voice. Allow me to express myself through tears. Allow me to fight back, right? Allow me to just live and just be myself. But if a Black woman does any of those things on television, then she's feeding into this whole other vein of stereotypes for Black women, right? If she cries, then she's weak, right? If she needs to take a minute and isolate, then she's lazy. If she raises her voice, she's what? Angry Black woman,
Angry
right?
Black woman.
So if she fights back, she's combative. So it's like it really feels to me that's why this question is so good, because it's like it's when we can cure the cancer, but we're doing it with poison, right? So we can cure that, that thing, but we're
Uh-huh.
gonna make you sick with this other thing, kind of
You
deal.
know, I like what you did there because you had took the question and you was like,
Mhm.
let me flip this and remix it. I
It's
Mm.
really, yeah,
it's a tough
um,
question,
yeah, yeah.
but the closest
I'm
I
sitting
can
here
get, I
thinking
have an
too.
option.
I was sitting here thinking before you give the option that
Yeah.
like I I cannot name a show where I have seen the core of the Black woman is her softness.
Yes.
Is this is ironic considering the Black mother is eternally nurturing
Right.
to a fault,
Right.
eternally
Mhm.
forgiving to a
And
fault,
can I
eternally
say that,
so that
which is, and we were, if we're talking about America, literally
even
brought
during
here
course,
to
yeah,
do that.
to do
Mhm,
Yes.
that. So the
mhm.
irony, that there's
We
never
mastered
been
that.
Right.
Mhm.
a character that I can say her central core was not just her softness in terms of her nurturing, but her softness in terms of her receiving and
Yeah.
expecting to
Yes.
receive things
Ah,
as soft. So when I think of it, all I can think of are like moments.
Yeah.
Some of my
yeah.
favorite soft moments. Also, when you think about them happening, was between two Black women.
Yeah.
So it was never like I can very rarely remember. I mean, we think we all love the Blair Underwood, Jada Pinkett set it off moment because that felt like,
Right.
oh, okay, he taking care. I know
Right.
we all love
Let,
that. But
let me be your genie. Let me
I'm
be
thinking
your
about,
genie. Okay.
I'm thinking about How to Get Away with Murder when
Yeah.
the scenes between Cicely Tyson
Yeah.
and Viola Davis revolving around hair, or
Yeah.
moments like on Queen Sugar when the two sisters would come to
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
soft place. But
Or
it
or
would
when
be a
they were
moment
interacting with Aunt Vi.
right.
Yeah.
But even
Yeah.
it was moments, so it was
Yeah.
fleeting. It was
Moments.
not their norm, and it definitely
Well,
wasn't their core character traits.
also
It
Yes.
wasn't
I'm
that.
thinking about Bo in Blackish, but the thing about Bo was like the part
Mm,
that you spoke about is, yes, she had moments of vulnerability and all that, but
mhm.
the
Yeah.
expecting, the receiving part,
Yeah,
I've
the
Yes.
receiving.
never seen.
Now, the only time you see that, like you said, in a very extreme exploitative way, is the reality shows where the Black women are like, I expect to get X, Y, and
Right.
Z. So the
Yeah.
receiving
Right.
looks like
Yeah.
this
Right.
very polar opposite. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
when I think of this, I always go back to my daughter is one of my greatest teachers. My daughter Talani,
Totally.
who's an Aries,
Yeah.
and Talani consists and she says it's because I've had to watch you. She said I watched my dad, who I'm not with, but who would never ever give up his comfort for anyone, no
Mhm.
matter
Mm.
what that cost
Mm.
him. And then I watch you, who would give up your comfort for everyone.
For
And I made
anything.
a decision
Yeah.
based on that. And
Mm.
so Talani has
Mm.
made her world move in a way
Yeah.
that's like
That's an Aries thing.
we really can't tell you. It
Yeah.
really will depend on how Talani feels that moment,
Yeah.
that day.
Yeah.
If she that one day she had bought this little card for herself. She wanted to draw in it for her birthday,
Mhm.
and we accidentally left it at the hotel when we were traveling. And she was like, "I'm sad. I think I left my card at the hotel." And I said, "Don't be sad. We're gonna go get you. We'll get you another card." And she said, "Yeah, but I'm sad right now." And I
Yeah.
was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh shit." That's how you do that,
Yeah.
right? Or we'll say, "Hey, this is a great opportunity for." She's like, "I hear you. I just don't know if I'm gonna want to do that
Such an
in a couple of days."
Aries.
But it's just, but she sits in a very feminine way,
Yeah.
right? And it's like we have to when you
Yeah.
do experience that, like where can you do that? Like where? Not even
Mm-hmm.
television, not even where
Right.
we imagine women
Yeah.
that are
Yeah.
not even real.
Right.
Can we even imagine a Black woman
You
that
know,
is just like
Yeah.
soft and expecting to receive and not raising her voice and
But that's
expecting the
yeah.
universe to come meet her
But
where
and
she
that's
is?
I was
that's the
gonna,
thing that I really want to see though. And
Yeah.
my example I
Yeah.
think does that is not just so again we have those moments, but what I think we've been lacking in television in general is a character that is allowed to have all of the above, right?
Yeah.
So
mhm,
not just
that
and
character.
so
I just want to
teaching
point
love.
out that that character is sitting in my. If there are any producers watching, the
Mm.
script for that character is sitting in my Google Drive. So
Okay,
just
I'm
hit me up
ready.
if there's
I'm
anybody watching.
Mhm.
Just want to put that out
I
there.
want to see her. I want to see her.
Go ahead though.
CG Love mentioned Lovecraft Country,
Mhm.
and I loved that show
I do too.
beyond. It's one of my
Mhm.
favorites. But Hippolyta, the character of Hippolyta Freeman,
Ooh.
literally had to be a superhero,
Yeah.
like a literal superhero.
Yeah.
To choose who she wanted to be.
to choose who
Yes.
she wanted to
It
Yeah.
is radical.
Yeah.
love
It
that.
is radical.
Yeah.
But we talk about those extremes. It's like she had to go beyond the extreme in order to make that a part of her full experience. What I would love to see is more of just the middle, not the extremes, but the middle. That's where it's soft in the middle, right? So my favorite example is, if not the only example that I could come up with, is Beth Pearson from This Is Us.
Ah, nice. Yeah.
Love that.
So
Nice.
she
Yeah,
gives us
for sure.
the strong and the soft. She gives us the loud and the quiet. She gives us the hard and the gentle, the tears and the laughter.
Absolutely. That's
we
good.
just get a full
Yeah.
picture.
And
from
she
that.
expects to receive. I mean, Randall, you know,
Exactly.
I may be one of the only
She
people
don't
who was
like
not
Randall.
a Randall
Don't
fan.
say that. No.
No,
No.
do it. That's
no,
I'm
blasphemy.
married to a Randall.
Oh gosh.
He was too much. Like that, like, yes, you know why Randall had to do all those grand gestures? To make up for handling his ass.
Don't do Randall. Don't do Randall.
well,
He's complicated, okay? He's
But he's
complicated.
so sweet. He just had a big heart.
He gotta be.
He
He
just had
gotta
to
be
get it
sweet.
in order.
Can
He just
you
had to get it in order.
imagine a dude who was Randall and not sweet? He ain't got no choice but to be
He
sweet.
had no choice but to be sweet.
But I
Randall's
think-
not
Are y'all
sweet.
gonna tell me Randall is not alive?
No.
I think
Randall's
having the
alive.
Randall's
mother-
alive.
Said he wasn't
Randall's
alive.
alive.
Okay.
Randall's alive.
having the mother that she had kind of prepared for having to
Be clear.
manage someone like that. I think
Yeah.
the relationship with
Randall's
her
alive.
mom was really, really pivotal.
I'm
I
not gonna
guess-
put
I
that.
guess
I'm
I
not gonna
would
put
say-
that on a black woman. Nobody can prepare you to handle Randall. No, I'm not gonna put that
Randall
on
was
Felicia
complicated. Randall had a
Rashad.
white mama too, and there was some complications there with how he knew to
You
navigate.
ain't gotta sell me on it. I think you're right. I'm just saying, people were like,
It was
"Oh,
a
you gonna
lot.
love Randall?"
When I think about Beth,
This hurts me heart. Hurts my heart. Okay.
Well,
The
when
show
I think
ended.
about-
The
I don't do
realest
that.
moment. The
because
realest
I do like that example, and I'm
Mhm.
trying to think of like when I Beth feels like the most average version of us all, like the most realistic,
Yes.
accessible version of us all,
Yeah.
and I do still feel like she had to carry so much.
She
She
did.
did.
You know,
As do we all. That's the thing.
As do we. Yeah,
That's why I
I'm
love
just
her.
gonna leave that comment there.
Thank you, CG. You're not wrong.
Well, can I just say though that Randall is played to perfection by Sterling Kelby Brown.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
a friend
I
of
have
mine
a
from college.
fun fact. I have a fun fact.
Yes.
So when I was pursuing my
I think I
acting
know
career,
this. I think I know this for a fact.
when I was pursuing my acting career in LA, I was a stand-in for Kerry Washington, as anyone who listens to the show knows. And on one episode, she was defending, she was on a show called Boston Legal, and she was defending, the character that she was defending, he was on death row, and it was played by Sterling K. Brown. So I've been in a scene with
I
Kerry
didn't know that fun
Washington
fact.
and Sterling K. Brown.
Yay.
Well
Fun
done.
fact.
Well done.
I have the SAG voucher to prove it. So
All right.
Nice.
fun fact.
Yeah.
Fun fact. Just want to say.
I love that. No, he's the best. He and his wife Ryan are some of the best people.
Oh.
Just really, really incredible people.
Yeah, I think he played Randall great. I'm just saying.
No, but that's Randall is
Randall's
a great character. But
Yeah.
this conversation is about Beth.
Not just Susan
Yes,
Kalichi
that's
Watson.
right. He's from St. Louis. That's right.
Yes. Okay, he is.
She was
Yes,
amazing.
he is.
Yeah,
she
she's
was
amazing.
Yeah, I think Beth is a really, really great tangible example. Like a character who was really
I
tangible.
still want to see that one with the core softness.
Yes,
Mhm.
I
Because I
agree.
still did feel her
A tough
hard edge.
Mhm,
Yeah. And I just, it will be like so interesting to see just
You know what I
even though it's an
noticed?
extreme. it would be balanced for us because of the other extreme that we've been held at.
But let me say something about that. The reason why I kind of appreciate the soft toughness, right?
Mhm,
It's an oxymoron, but anyway, the soft toughness of Beth is because they explained to us kind of where that comes from
Mhm.
when they gave us that whole conversation with
Yeah.
her mom, right?
Yeah.
And
no, of
so
course.
and
Yes.
so it's like a layer
And her
of
dad.
black mom on black mom
And her dad, yeah.
and really, yeah, and her dad.
And her dad.
Understanding where that came from.
I'm thinking about all of these characters, right? And I'm thinking about what you said about your daughter Talani. Not your daughter Talani. I don't know what's your daughter Talani, but I think most of these characters were firstborn, were the first girl in their family,
Mhm.
and I think as the
Shout
baby,
out to us.
yeah, and so I think as the baby in my family, as the youngest child, I
That is easier for you
do.
to tap into.
It's
Mhm.
so easy for me to tap into sitting back and receiving and softness because everyone gave me so much. And I was just thinking about Talani being the youngest of your children and how most of these characters, I mean, Queen Sugar, they were kind of like only children. So it's a little bit different. But still, when you're an only child, you kind of shoulder a responsibility of being the oldest, right? But I'm thinking about Claire. Bo was the oldest.
That's so
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
That is very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
And those are the ones likely to be parentified.
Yeah.
And to take those choices very, very seriously, very literally, put the
Yeah.
world on their shoulders type of thing. That is very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Firstborn's rule.
We got a lot to do. So, okay, next question
Okay.
is what would you prescribe for a Black woman who feels she has lost her passion?
Okay. So for this one, this is an easy one. This one I was able to answer right away. But I'm going to recommend not the whole episode, just a scene. And I bet you can guess which scene I'm talking about. I bet you I'm psychically sending it to you right now. It is season 2, episode 7 of this particular show. The title of the episode is The Big 4-0. And in this episode, the Black mom that I'm talking about is approaching her 40th birthday, which I remember when I was watching, I was like, whoa, 40. And now I'm like, that's so
Here we
cute.
are. Yeah.
That's cute that she was feeling a way about being 40 because I'm like, that was
Here we go.
anyway, doesn't matter. So she's feeling a way about turning 40 and she's reflecting on her life choices. And she realizes that she had a really serious dream as a child of becoming a professional dancer. And she abandoned that dream. And so with the encouragement of her family, she decides to pursue that dream again. And she gets her little dance outfit together. And she goes and she
an iconic moment.
Rushes
the
audition.
An iconic moment.
Okay. This is so interesting that you pick. Do we say what it is? Or are you going to say?
It's my girl, my favorite mom of all time.
Have you seen? I was waiting.
The original.
Have you seen
the original
scene
of
put
it?
up against "Break My Soul"? I was waiting for the
No.
Oh yeah, they have matched
Wow.
that scene too. You won't break my soul. I was like, somebody gonna do it from the universe.
Right
and
now.
it's there.
Okay.
It's there.
I wish I had a producer so I could be like, look that up so we can bring it up.
Put that in.
But anyway, yeah.
Shout out to Janet
But
Hubert. Shout out.
Not yet, but okay.
I think it's so I love that you brought this up because when I thought of this question, I was thinking of the new Aunt Viv on Bel Air, who is literally a Black mama creative. She was a visual artist, a painter, an up and coming painter when her and Phil got together, and she had Hillary and lost herself. And she comes into this new opportunity and she gets this huge grant. Like her children are older now. She gets this huge grant. Phil decides not to. Spoiler alert! If you have not watched Bel Air,
I have not seen this.
Not at all, but go ahead.
Spoiler alert.
No, I watched the first
I'ma
episode.
still
I was
watch
like,
it.
oh no,
Thea
we're not
can
in the
watch
Fresh
it. Thea
Prince
can
Bel
watch
Air. I
because
can't
let
do
me
it.
tell you, it's
I
not the
can't
Fresh
do it.
Prince.
It's
It is
not. And
not.
you warned me,
No.
but I still wasn't ready from that first episode. And I have not
Get
tapped
yourself
back in.
together. It is not the
I
Fresh
just don't
Prince.
need. I just
Totally.
don't need the shy mixed
But
in with Bel Air with Fresh Prince.
you can't do it. You can't do it. No,
No,
if you're watching
I
The
don't have a
Shy,
constitution.
wait like 3 months, then watch Bel Air. But the same thing happens to her. But with Bel Air, they are much more upfront about the fact that she was a creative who
Yeah.
put her creative. It's the first time
Mhm.
I've seen a Black mama creative and what Black mama creatives go through
That's a
if
point.
they partners with someone or if they have children.
Right.
And Phil tells her at one point, like, yes, these children impacted us, our career impacted us, but even when I pushed you, you made yourself small. So it
Yeah.
shows like it wasn't all on him, that there was something in
Mhm.
her. And she goes to this grant meeting and she says, it was the fact that I just wanted to do my art, but I had to explain my art to everybody, to the people in charge, these white people in charge. I had to explain my work. But I think that like that is such an iconic moment. And then to
It
see
is.
what they did
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
Bel Air is
Yeah.
like beautiful. Yeah.
I
yeah.
think with that, I have a trick question for you, Michelle.
Oh, shoot.
Actually, that came up with that's not on the list. But also,
Okay.
when you mentioned that, Crystal, it made me think about the examples I have seen in television or film. And one was The Photograph, which wasn't my favorite film, but the mother in the photograph was pursuing her art. And in many
Mm.
ways, that created a conflict, like she was a bad mother. So whenever I think sometimes when we do see mothers who are choosing their passion
Mhm.
over,
Yeah.
then it's like they're bad, there's like they're bad mothers, right?
Mhm.
And there was another example of it that it was, I think this was more of a TV show, but I have to think of it again. But it made me think, like, where have I seen Black? Oh, it was Randall's real mama artist, biological mom. Maybe I'm wrong about that. There's another example of a Black mom creative, but in all the no, I'm wrong. You know what it was? It was that show with Kerry Washington and Reese Witherspoon. It was on Hulu. It was
Oh, big
Oh,
amazing.
Little
Millions.
Fires.
Millions.
Little
Fires
fires.
everywhere.
Little fires everywhere.
And
Yeah.
she was a Black mom who was a creative and it showed
Yeah.
that complexity a little
Yes.
bit there too, for sure. Like,
Yes.
and there were other reasons she was that complex, but it definitely showed
She chose
how
her
she
art
had to
over her
choose.
daughter.
Yeah, but also sometimes her daughter over her art. Like, it was never able to both coexist. And
Right.
that has
Yeah.
been a thing that has resonated in me
Sure.
my entire
Yeah.
adult life, is that I had to
Yeah.
choose between the
And
security, providing a certain security for my kids,
Yeah.
or getting to be an artist, which meant being free to choose what you want for you that allows that art to come through.
And I
Mm.
think like, and even in Bel Air and even in Fresh Prince, like she still had to choose. Like in Bel Air, Phil had to drop out of the race in order for her to fully pursue her
Yeah.
artistic career. And I mean, they got money galore. So
Right.
I think that the fact that
Mhm.
like having to choose is real. I'm not going to negate that. But I think like looking at the system and the world that we live in that sets up that choice.
Yeah.
Right?
Because
You
why
know,
does it have to
Exactly.
be a choice?
why does it
Does
have to be a
what's real? And
choice?
especially when you think
Yeah.
Right.
of payment and you think of balance. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Like, I don't owe nobody
too.
shit. Actually, when you think ancestrally, you owe me so
Mhm.
much. I could say that
Mhm.
I could get a whole life of getting exactly what I want, and you would still owe me 6 generations down the line. That is the truth. It's not just what happens in this life,
Mhm.
but the previous life that determine what I'm owed at this
Right.
point, right? So
Right.
I think sometimes we put in our minds like, oh well, it's you're gonna have to give up something. No, I
Yeah.
don't. I don't have to give up
Yeah.
shit.
And
that
and
choice is a false choice.
Yeah.
it's a false choice. And that's the thing that I really want Black mama creatives to see, is that it's not motherhood. Ooh, keep hitting my mic. It's not motherhood. It's the system under which we
It's
have
the
to
false
do
idea that
Yes.
the moment you
in.
say I can have all of it,
Yeah.
the
Yes.
universe says let's expand so that she can have all of it.
Yeah.
That is the other choice. That is the wealthy,
And-
abundant choice.
And how we raise our
Mhm.
how we're expected to raise our children
Right.
in these single homes with two parents, and not communally, village wise, so everyone has the opportunity to
Mhm.
pursue
Right.
their gifts. But I
Mhm.
do think that it is constantly like setting up a choice, and people like, well, yeah, you have to accept that you have to make a choice.
That it automatically comes with sacrifice, some type of
Yeah, it
sacrifice.
automatically comes.
Yeah.
Your dream also.
Right.
Bravo to the actress that was Rue's mom in
I
Euphoria.
couldn't do season 2 of Euphoria.
Right.
I couldn't
It
do
was a
season 2.
lot.
I couldn't do season 2. I tapped the
It
fuck
was
out.
a lot. It was a
I
lot.
tapped the fuck out.
Did
Even
you
my
get
kids was
through?
like,
Did you get through that season, CG? Let us know.
I did.
Let us know. You
oh,
did.
bless
I
you.
did.
What was
It
the
I have
was
not
a
recovery
seen
lot.
like?
Euphoria.
It was
I've
a
not
lot.
seen it.
Oh,
The first season, I got it. I got through it. But
It's
when they
it's
told me about season 2, I was like, oh, I'm not. Thank you for the warning. I'm not
I
doing it.
couldn't.
yeah,
I
yeah.
couldn't.
It's one of those
Yeah.
things where I'm like, you know,
You know what it reminds me? It's like if Requiem for a Dream was a television series.
Michelle said,
It's like if Requiem for a Dream was a television series.
Yeah.
I never got over Requiem for a Dream.
yeah,
That
it
was one of
was
the harshest
literally a
realities.
clutch the
it was a
pearls.
lot. It was a lot.
It was a lot. Yeah.
It was a lot. I
And
couldn't
I'm
get
like,
through it.
is that's what it? Ooh,
Right, that's what I'm
high
like. Was
school
that was
is,
in these
man.
streets?
According to my kids, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got a trick question though. I got a
Okay.
Wait, but
question.
wait, I wanted
Oh, go
you
ahead.
made a
Mhm.
point though that I really wanted to address, and that is that that's part of the reason. What you were saying is that's part of the reason why I said only watch that clip,
Oh,
because if I am prescribing for a Black mama who feels lost or on the brink of giving up or still searching for passion, you got to end it there, because you end on a
Mhm.
high, you end on a win.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because guess what, right? This is
Mhm.
not a spoiler alert. The episode does not end with
Mhm.
Right.
Viv crushing
Become
the
a dan-
audition
yeah.
and then going on to live that
Mhm.
life of being a dancer.
Well, can
Mhm.
I say then they clean it up in Bel Air.
Okay,
They
I'm
do
glad.
better in Bel Air.
Yeah.
I'm
If you
glad.
haven't watched Bel Air, I do recommend Bel Air. I do.
I'm glad, because
But
And-
not if you're
and-
watching Euphoria or
The
The
Shy.
Shy. Just give
Yeah.
it a couple of months.
But Beth
Or
was able to
Snowfall.
pursue her dance and kind of figure out a way that it still worked for her in her life too. By the
Yeah.
end of that series.
Yeah, but I was thinking
Right.
that too.
Yeah.
Beth did find that.
Yeah.
So I have a trick question, because we
Okay.
talk about the softness and reality TV. So we kind of brought this in,
Yeah.
Okay.
and these are Black mothers on TV. So this is like
Yes.
a
Okay.
red table talk.
Okay.
These are Black
Mm.
mothers on TV,
yes,
Mhm.
you know, and let's really think about how they're handled,
Yeah.
because they're not fictional to where you can
Right.
manipulate outcomes, and I mean, to an extent you can do something, you
Absolutely.
can produce it, but there's
So you
also
said no, thank you.
there's
No,
I
thank
said no,
also there's also, you know, Grammy can't be too scripted, because you know any Black woman over a certain age, but you can give her a script if you want to, but I ain't
Yeah.
gonna be the one to do it. But I think that's also a very interesting look at Black women who
Mhm.
are showing multiple sides of themselves
Yeah.
in different age groups.
Right.
And I find it very interesting, the reactions that they get, particularly from Black people, when they don't fit the norm of
Yeah.
those tropes and stereotypes that have been in the fictional characters.
Right.
Mm.
I have thoughts, but I'm
What's
going to
your-
see what
what's your
let me see what the
question?
expert says.
I think
What's your
that's it.
question?
Like, I mean, when we think that is a representation of Black motherhood on
It is.
television in
It
real
is.
time,
Yes.
what do we think about it? What do we think about that?
So I think that the level of, so it's the best possible thing that they could have done is to convince the audience of a higher level of authenticity happening around that table than is actual. So the fact that we are buying into what we see there as more authentic than This Is Us or a Queen Sugar or whatever.
Ah, I see what you're saying.
That's
Okay.
that is
I got you.
that
Because
is
it's
their
still,
best thing
you're
that they could
saying,
have done.
you're saying it's still television.
Correct.
And just like all
Yeah.
television is curated
Correct.
Yeah.
and produced.
100%.
That was gonna be my
But because they're
response,
having
yeah.
it in this form,
100%.
and it's not quite reality TV, and
Right.
it's not, doesn't mean there's not some element of fiction,
Right.
imagination, and that is
Watch
that is
this.
good. That
Watch
is
this.
good.
I was going to take issue with your point that it's not fiction. I was like, I
It
would
absolutely
disagree
is.
with that.
It absolutely
Yeah.
is. we think of when we watch the news, right?
Mhm.
We're like, oh, yeah, this is just the news. All they're trying to do is just inform me about
Mhm.
what's happening in the world. No, baby,
They're
no.
trying to
This is
influence
just
you.
as much of a constructed narrative as
Mhm.
anything else that you're
Yeah,
watching.
absolutely.
It's got
Very
theme
interesting.
music.
Yeah,
So with that
I
being said,
but I
then what do you
but
think
I
about the way that they've displayed motherhood?
well, I do think there is something to the way that we handle you call it is fictional to a certain degree, but all reality TV is.
Correct.
But the ways in which we handle Black mothers in reality TV in general, because they don't fit the narrative of the fictionalized version that we see in scripted television.
But
Like,
but it does though. That's the thing, right? It contributes to it. It adds to it. It concretizes it.
So
It
tell me
it
that through Red Table Talk.
it is
so
just
okay.
it is just as, if not more dangerous, to have those stereotypes and those the dirty laundry, if you will, right?
Mhm.
You know, we are a complicated people,
Mhm.
and there is one line of logic that says, if you want to see me, then you need to see all of it. You need to see my highs and my lows. You don't get to just see the highlight reel.
Right,
Right? You
right.
need to see all of the complexity. You need to see what could be considered my flaws, the things about me that are not so pretty, right? Not so
Mhm.
amazing. There's another side that says, okay, cool, but if I'm showing the flaws to the viewer across the country and across the world, let's be honest about that, that has no real life comparison to that.
Mhm.
If the only thing that I'm knowing about a Black woman or a Black mother is through what I see on television,
Mhm.
then there's no choice for me. There's no way that I would not look at that and think of that as how it actually is, right? And
Mhm.
translate that as reality, not reality based, but actual reality, right? So what I'm learning as I'm watching is uh I'm learning how to think about that group of people by what I'm watching, right?
Mhm.
So if we take Red Table Talk, for
Yeah.
example,
Mhm.
and and I don't have, I'm in whoever knows where part of the country
Mhm.
or the globe, and I see the way that they are presenting motherhood, I can take their version, which is two things. Number one, just amongst those three people or
Mhm.
whoever guessed, right? So it's an individual experience, but because it's now been broadcast, it's been made mass,
Mhm.
right? I'm now taking that as it's this way for them. It's that way. Not it's that way for them, but it's that way. And so it's that. And number two, it has been constructed to look
Mhm.
that way, right? So number one, it's individual. It's between those three people, but it's also been constructed. So now that individual constructed version of the truth has been broadcast to people who are accepting it as capital T truth, as period, that's reality, right?
But that's true of
And
all
that's,
television, yes.
of course.
So
But
because when they
not the
see
individual
Aunt
part, but
Viv,
yeah,
but in some ways, right? If I see Aunt Viv, or if that's all, if what's broadcasting are reruns of the Fresh Prince,
sure.
that is how I learned about Black motherhood. If I'm
Yes,
in Singapore,
right.
so that part feels like
Oh, I
accurate
don't.
for. But I guess my question is, like, are they representing something different than we've seen in Black motherhood, even through the example of Willow being on there, who
Sure.
represents, generations of like gender non-conforming things and things like that. And then
I know.
also, I guess, like, is there something different to that display that they add to that depiction? And yeah, because the other part, I assume that of all television, right?
Yeah.
Right. But my
I
point is that it becomes more dangerous when we think of it as
more
reality,
authentic.
right? So the fact that we've got this class, so we've got just like fictional television, right? Whatever.
Right.
Then we've got this genre really of reality based TV,
Right.
which it has reality in the name. So people are
Right.
already if you're not a kind of a trained critical consumer of these messages, you're already thinking it's more realistic than the scripted stuff,
Well,
right?
wait.
It's at least more realistic. And so my point about Red Table Talk is that what they've convinced us of is that they are not reality TV. They are closer to authenticity. And so that's what makes them more dangerous.
But my thing is dangerous to who? Because like
to us.
Well, I
do
don't
not fit that model.
I don't know. I could be naive. I just admitted that I do live in a bubble. But I don't think Black people look at Red Table Talk or Black people look at reality TV and think this is a representation of us. Now, people outside of our race could look at that because they've had no contact with us.
And that's why it's dangerous to us, because when they interact with the real us.
Well, but I would say that's more their issue, because it's an issue for me. If I look at white people, if I look at Jennifer Aniston and something and say, oh, this is how all white women are, then I don't necessarily believe that that's an issue of what's being depicted on TV as much as it's an issue of why do you look at one representation of this and assume that that's how everybody is, but I don't look at one representation of white people and assume that that's how all white people are. Like, I think that that's more of a, I don't know, racism issue than I think
that's my point.
But I guess my thing is, I'm really not concerned with how white people see us, because I think we can have the best whatever and white people will see us the way in which they see us. I am concerned with how this impacts how we see ourselves. And so I think, to Thea's point, when we do see Black motherhood, when Black people, when I say we, I mean Black people, when Black people see Black mothers outside of what we consider.
Jada has not been praised for her Black motherhood amongst Black people. And so that's what I guess I'm thinking, like, here's a Black mother who's been supportive of her son when he's wearing skirts and her daughter when she shaves her head and things like that. I'm wondering, like, I totally understand that, because I've actually, been featured on that show. So I understand. I've been behind the scenes. The people who produce that show, the same people who would produce an Oprah show, I totally get that piece. But I'm also thinking, though, to see generations of people on around the table that are saying, I did drugs, this is what I learned from doing drugs, and this is how it affected me as a child, and this is this, and this is that, and then have Willow be like, this is how it affected me. And like, I think that kind of motherhood on display in terms of transgenerational accountability, but also, talking about the impact of being a different type of Black mother, and how that there's things there that I think have broken the mold a bit about that, because we've been stuck in the Felicia Rashad, we've been stuck in
Claire
that idea of motherhood for or in the
Florida Evans,
Halle Berry, or Florida Evans, or the Halle Berry, Monsters Ball version. This offers this to me seems like, even though it's curated, because it's all curated, right? There's what is authentic, I guess, about it. Feels like it could be beneficial to not just to add to that canon, even just a little bit of space.
No, I hear
non-conforming.
I hear that
specifically for non-conforming.
CG says they ain't letting Grammy.
And for transgenerational healing.
I wanted to
put
CG's comment up that they ain't letting Grammy dig a bit.
Grammy would run a completely different type of show, and I think she would have her own show. Like my mama.
Well,
I would watch Grammy show.
Well, she has a podcast.
Oh, that's right.
She has a podcast, and
she needs
it's
it.
fantastic.
She needs it. Yeah,
I want her.
Oh, she does.
Podcast.
My mom and Grammy line up every time.
She says that it presents a privilege that some of us don't have, and I feel that when I watch.
Now that I think is true. I do think the classism comes out. I think that's one thing that comes out a lot, and so that's one of the things that it can't hide, which is authentic, right? It's authentic that they can't hide the classism.
But I
these big fancy doctors you have roll through here do all these damn tests to determine that you can't eat certain types of cheeses. Bitch, I can't afford that, doctor.
Right.
I do think that's true. And I do think that there is a classism issue and a privilege issue there.
Sure.
And I think that it does present parenting that Black people say white people do.
Yeah.
I'm in a group called Conscious Parenting for the Culture. And a lot of the ways in which they parent their children, and let me tell you this, I don't want no comments in the comments about Will and Jada's relationship. That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. But the way, I don't want
No,
it.
don't
We're
care.
going to do a show about that, but that's not what we're talking
Nah,
about.
just
But
end
not
it.
today.
Just end it.
But the way in which they parent their children, people
Mhm.
say that's how white people parent their children. And
Mhm.
so there is she is outside of the norm in the way in which she parents her children. And we talk about it in that group
And
all
is
the
that
time.
related to
It's
access to
conscious.
money too?
I would say people think it is, but it's not. It's related to liberation and how and
I would say though, I don't think we can fully say that without the privilege of having money and status that secures your child no matter how you raise them. Like if you're poor and you don't have
Yeah.
a choice of where your child goes to school, you may make different choices to protect your child
well,
from certain things than you
but
would if you can just put your kid in a private school or
right.
pay for a
But
private chef and
I
private.
agree. But when I'm talking about conscious parenting, it's conscious parenting.
No, I
you
agree
can
that
do.
can happen at
Yeah,
any level. But I'm talking
I'm
about Jada specifically.
no. Oh well, I'm talking about the way in which she parents in general. I'm not talking. I'm talking about the way in which some of the ways in which she parents her children in a conscious way. It
Oh yeah.
is outside of the norm, but I do see new generation, like people my age and younger, clashing with older generations
Yeah.
about choosing to
Yeah.
parent their
Yeah.
children in a different way and the pushback that is
Yeah.
given from that. So I do think that she does present a different view of Black motherhood that definitely does that definitely does get
A lot
that's
of backlash.
We
outside
don't
of
see
the
a lot of
norm
it.
again.
You
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
You don't.
And I mean, it was like, I mean, Blackish a little bit in the way that Bo and Dre approach things differently, but they attributed that to Bo being raised by a
But
white
and
mom
on a commune.
and
Yeah.
on a commune.
Different
And I'll say something else that we don't see often is there was a whole generation, crack impacted,
Mhm.
my generation, and there's a whole generation of broken, no, I don't want to say whole generation, but there are parent relationships that are broken. And I think something that we do see on that show is generational healing between mothers, between Black mothers and Black daughters, because there is this narrative out there that, oh well, you got to cut your parents off, they did this to you, and so you got to cut your parents off. And I think that we a lot of times don't see healing on television between Black mothers and Black daughters. We don't see that. And one of the things that Black people, I do think we have to know how to do in order to fully reach liberation is how to heal, because all this can be gone tomorrow. But if we don't know how to heal, then it ain't gonna matter. We are still going to hurt each other. And one of the most powerful things I ever heard Jada Pinkett say to her mother, who her mother was struggling with, I can't believe that you've forgiven me, that you don't hold anything against me, that I wasn't there for you. And the thing that she said is, that's true. You weren't there for me. But when I wanted to do something, you never got in the way of my being, and you supported whatever I wanted to do. You allowed me to be. And so I think what that shows is, despite what her mother did or whatever, I think in a way that informed Jada's parenting in terms of how she allows her children to be. And I don't think that that's something that we see on television.
I guess the point that I was trying to, I agree with you all that we are getting to see a different kind of parenting, which can only be a good thing. That can only be a good thing, because it
to
adds
expand
to
the canon. Right.
exactly.
Right.
No, that can only be a good thing.
Yeah.
But I guess my point was that the danger comes in the increased importance that we place if we think about all television that there is to see right now, right? It's front of mind for us because it's Black TV, and we seek that out. We seek out stories that reflect who we are, right? But in terms of the whole table, we've just got this little corner of
Right.
it over here. There's so
Right.
much more that has nothing to do with us, right?
Mhm.
So when that kind of television is taking up a bigger and bigger part of what is already such a tiny corner, it has more weight.
Yeah.
It's more dense, right?
Yeah.
So I worry that
So it has to be held
the things-
accountable or certain
correct. The things that I don't love about it are amplified because it is smaller in that way.
Well, the thing I don't
And
love
because it
about
is
it has been that I think they're soft on racism.
And
I
a
think
lot
they're
of
soft on
issues.
racism because they're really surrounded by a lot of white people.
Yeah,
Because they're not
I
as
hold up their
impacted
world.
by it. They have the privilege to
Yeah.
not be cushioned, insulated from
But
it in a
and
way
they
that
are
most of us
really
are.
literally, when you go behind the scenes, they are surrounded.
Yeah,
There by white folks.
I agree, but I have to disagree. I mean, again, I live in a bubble. I just really don't. Even though we got a little corner, I really don't care what we do, how it makes white people. I really don't. I just
I
feel
want
like
to come to the bubble.
yeah,
I think this is
I
but
don't- I don't
this is
live
the
in that
paradox of being Black and
Yeah.
creative and always
Yeah.
feeling like feeling the weight and the pressure on your ability to express yourself
Right.
as a representation of an entire group because of how small the corner is.
yeah.
And
There it
that's
is.
the
I think that's
actual
real.
problem.
I
That's
think
the
that's
actual
real.
paradox, right? Is that
Yeah.
we are aware of the size of the slice,
Right.
and we are aware of, Eminem,
That's
we only
exactly
got
right.
one shot, do not miss your chance to blow, and then
Yes.
we feel like all the way. And what does that do to creativity?
Yeah,
That's right.
That's
What
why.
does it do
That's
to
why.
Black genius.
Yeah, that's
you
why
know?
I think. That's why I release that. I just feel like.
I love
I
that.
think it's both true. I
Yeah,
think it's
no,
both true
yeah,
because it is very, very
It is.
important for people.
Mhm.
Let me tell you why I think the part that you were saying, Michelle, is so important is because Black folks, I need y'all to understand that these is characters, whether it be celebrities
Reality-based,
or
all of
a
it.
character.
Yes.
I need y'all do not know the people personally, and y'all be on Twitter acting like goddamn fool.
Agreed. I agree with that.
Quickly judging.
You don't know them.
Quickly out here canceling people. You need to get
Right.
less emotional and have some healthy detachment
Yeah.
from these folks because you do
Right.
the
Now,
absolute
I-
freaking
yes.
most. And I think that reminder that is curated and produced, just like
And
if I'm
produced
writing a
and
book or
edited
if I'm
and-
painting a
yes.
picture, you
Yes.
need to be
Important.
reminded, my people, to not take time out of your life and your purpose to go on Twitter for 24 hours straight about a person you have no clue about.
I do.
Period. That is a great reminder
I do
to
agree
be
with that.
responsible
and-
in that way as consumers
Yeah.
of this content.
Yeah. And I think that that's a matter of how we see ourselves, though, and how we treat one another as well. CG says the reboot of First Wife Club is everything. It is everything. It is. Which can transition. No, like First Wives Club. First of all, everything that she's from South Carolina. Tracy. I cannot think of her last name. She helped produce Awkward Black Girl with Issa Rae. Tracy, I can't think of her last name. She does First Wife Clubs and she does Harlem. I love everything that she does. I can't think of her last name.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, but First Wives Club is
Harlem might be a good example. Is that a mother? But did I
Jasmine Guy?
Jasmine Guy is on there as a mom.
Did I? Oh, yes, right. But
Yeah.
I did kind of feel
And-
like those characters were allowed to be a
Megan-
little softer than I'm used to, or
Yes.
demand more.
And Megan
Listen.
Good's mom is not on there, but her presence is definitely felt.
You see what I'm saying?
on
Like
that
I
show.
feel like they were. Now that I really think about it, I think that's something I did enjoy about it was the characters were who they
think
were without
that's
feeling
be-
like it was.
There are 4 of them, I think, so they're allowed to spread across.
I
Yeah.
have thoughts and feelings.
Versus
Oh.
like, where it's not just
I'm
like
gonna
one
save
person.
them.
Where
I
it's
wanna-
not just one person.
I want to make sure we
No.
ask Michelle the other questions we have. For
Okay.
her too.
Okay. Yes.
Somebody
yes,
jump
yes.
in and throw in a question. I did mine. I threw in it. I even threw
Tracy
in
Oliver.
Okay.
Woo!
Tracy
Tracy Oliver.
Oliver.
That was
Yes.
what I was
Tracy
Don't
gonna
make
Oliver.
me
I love her.
crazy. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I don't know.
Favorite Black mom on TV right now. Go.
Okay. Gabrielle Burnham, Doctor sister, Gabrielle Burnham. She is the mother of Captain Michael Burnham on
she's
Star
good.
Trek Discovery.
She's good.
When I tell you, she is not just my favorite Black mom on TV right now. She might be my favorite Black mom on TV of all.
I have to watch this.
It's a great
Throughout
show.
time.
Fantastic show.
Wait,
Let me
tell
tell
me
you just a
Star
little
Trek
bit.
Discovery.
Mhm.
Discovery.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic
So,
show.
well, and you knew
You'll
I was
love
gonna
it.
get Star
It's
Trek
on
in there
Disney
somehow.
Plus.
It's on Paramount. It's on
Plus.
Paramount.
Paramount.
Yeah, you'll love it. You'll love it. You'll love
So, first of all, she was just your average, awesome astrophysicist, engineer, whatever, just run of the mill, while being a mother. So maybe that would be a good answer for the, like, you can have your
Mhm.
passion and your family kind of thing. But there was an incident, and they were attacked. And Michael believed, played by the exquisite Sonequa Martin Green, by the way, who is just one of my favorite humans. So she thought that she lost both of her parents in that attack. But spoiler alert, she did not, in fact, lose her mom. Her mom basically cheated the laws of time and space in order to save her family. So, and not only
It's
her
dope.
family, but
It's
also
dope.
the entire universe.
The
No big
world.
deal.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
no
the
big deal.
universe, not even
No
the
big
world, the
deal. I
universe,
love it.
the universe, not
All
even Earth,
of existence.
the universe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And this is not the first time that we have had to thank a Black mama for saving all of existence.
No.
And it won't be the last, but she does have that softness, but she's also, you understand that she trained with the Kuatmalat, and she can kill you with like a finger.
Which is also always the fact, no matter how soft I am.
Also always the fact.
Always a fact, no matter how soft I am. I could break you.
Correct. I can break you without
just
even
choose not
feeling
to
a way
today.
about it. Yeah, right. So I just, and it's not just that she is an incredible character, but I love her mothering. So the reason why she's my favorite Black mom on TV is, like, if I were to look at, like, I want to be that kind of mom.
Yeah.
Or
I
mothered
look
by
at
that
her.
kind of mom.
Yeah.
yeah.
When
I
she
mean,
when she comes back that first time, and
Don't,
Yes.
Kristen, you give too much spoilers.
I
Well,
know
just-
it's
okay.
Michelle knows
I
how to
think-
do it gracefully without giving up. But girl, you be like, and then that episode, that time.
And then remember when she?
Yeah,
So I'll
I
just
need
leave
Michelle
it
It's
to
been
get
out. No, what do you say, Thea? If you ain't seen it by now, it's been out for 3 years.
Okay,
if
but
you
you
I
ain't,
think
Star Trek Discovery,
Michelle
everybody ain't a
mentioned
Trekkie. Sometimes I
I
gotta
think-
tap in. Look at the vote.
I
I'm
think
not a
Michelle
Trekkie,
mentioned this
actually.
the last time she was on, and I meant to watch it then. So it's my bad if I haven't seen it yet. You're right. You're right.
And this is still my answer.
NeKisha, I don't
So
like how you
nobody
pick
has
and
been
choose
better
when
than
you
her
want to
yet.
be
thank you,
this person.
Nikisha. Thank
Why
you,
do you pick
Nikisha.
and choose when you want to be this person?
I am loyal to myself.
You are showing out. through
Nikisha's
cancer
handling the
myself
questions.
only.
Nikisha's handling the
I
questions.
am
love
You're
it.
showing out through
still a
cancer
Scorpio.
season.
I don't know how you forgot that. Okay.
I don't know.
What Black mom do you miss?
I miss Blanca, who was the
I was gonna say
mother
that too.
of the House of Evangelista on Pose.
Mm.
No, go ahead.
No, I have her written down. I was going to say the same thing. I love Blanca. I
I
love
love
Blanca.
Blanca. I love Blanca. She did a little bit more on the side of sacrifice kind of mothering than Gabrielle Burnham. But the way that she fought for her children is just so beautiful. And I miss that representation of motherhood. Not just kind of mother she was, but also the kind of mother that she was, right? Reminding us that motherhood does not necessarily mean DNA. Motherhood doesn't mean necessarily cis, het, white, etc. Right? So and not for nothing, I miss Electra as well. And that's the kind of mother that I also aspire to be.
I couldn't watch the last season of Pose. I was so sad.
It was sad.
I was so sad that it was going off. I was like, I haven't watched the last season yet. I was so sad it was going on. Yeah.
They did it justice. They did do
They did.
good justice, but it was a difficult watch. It
Yeah.
took me a long time. It's probably in the last 2 months or 2 that I finally finished it. It was really hard. But Blanca will be missed. I agree. Anybody have any other different answers? Who you
I
missed?
miss Miss Gilbert. I miss Diane Carroll as Whitley Gilbert's mom.
Listen.
She wasn't the best mom, but
Dad,
she
just
played
dad.
it so well.
I ain't mad at it.
She played it so well. When she said, "Mom, her name is Kimberly, Mom," and she was like,
Kimberly.
"It shouldn't be. That shouldn't be her name."
That shouldn't be her name.
She played it so well. She played it so well.
Yeah.
I miss her.
Can I go off script a little bit, Michelle? I really want to know your feelings on Our Kind of People.
I
Have
have
you seen
not
that?
seen it.
It's not coming back.
It's
I
not.
have not seen it.
Mm-mm. It got canceled.
I had a feeling that would happen, but
What is Our Kind of People? Can I show
It's not-
y'all something real quick?
Yes.
It is the list of shows
Yeah.
that I have.
to catch up on.
Yeah.
You
It's
ready?
not coming back.
So it's on
coming back.
Hulu. There is
Look at
only
that!
a
Look at that
season.
list. Woo!
Yaya
have a long
DaCosta is the main
But I'll put it on
character.
here. Oh,
yeah,
I
put it
love
on the.
her.
I love her.
No, you said
It was gonna need a couple more seasons to really be something.
Yeah.
But Crystal, what is that face? What is the face, Crystal?
You know how you try to protect your chick because you know, I'm an aspiring film and television writer. I don't know who's watching this, so you know.
Our Kind of People.
Our Kind of.
I'll hold my comments.
I'm not saying it was fantastic television. I'm not saying that.
Okay.
But it was a good time. It was a good time.
It was a good
And
time.
So that one is
And
now that's number 71. It's
In your
alphabetized.
list. Oh my God.
I feel like here's my thoughts on Our Kind of People. I feel like the plot of it, the premise was good.
Okay.
I'm just gonna be honest. The writing, I was struggling with the writing, but I thought the premise was I felt like there's so much that could have been done with the premise. I think that they had good talent on there. It was just hard for me when it came to the writing.
That's how I felt about Empire. I thought it was beautifully shot a lot of the time and great music. And it could have been a lot more than it ended up being. I felt the same way. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I
We
think
do-
where it lands often determines that.
Oh,
Which
and
one?
the thing that I did love about Our Kind of People, whole cast brown skin. Whole
Eric.
cast. Never
Eric.
seen that on television. It was absolutely beautiful and gorgeous. I did appreciate that. We
It
do have a
was.
question.
out.
Thoughts on Black Lady sketch show? Because I love it.
Yeah. So I haven't yet watched the second season. The first season, I actually did an episode about Black Lady Sketch Show of my podcast. And I think I loved the points that it raised. I loved the arguments that it made. And I wanted
And
to
it's
laugh a
nuts.
lot more than I did
Oh, and not a but, an and. Okay,
And.
that's fair.
in the
That's fair.
first season. The second
Well, in the
season,
second
I've
season.
heard is really, really funny. So I'm looking forward
I
to
think
it.
sketch comedy is tough.
It is. That's the sketch comedy. is
Sketch
tough.
comedy is
And I
tough.
think it's tougher on women.
Yeah, it's
I think it's
tough.
tougher on women. When
Yeah,
you've
yeah,
seen it,
Yeah,
be
it's
accepted.
tough.
For sketch comedy is experimental. It's like improv
Mhm.
live, you know,
Mhm.
but
Of
with
course.
some.
Yeah.
So it's experimental, and we do not let women be experimental.
We
And
don't.
so I
It's
think
tough.
we'll give white sketch shows and white male
Yeah.
sketch shows and even black male sketch shows a lot of grace and a lot of seasons to
Sure.
figure out their recipe. But it's hard for us to sit
Yeah,
through black
agreed.
women not being excellent right away.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
think
I
that's-
don't.
But I'm
I
here
don't-
for it.
Yeah.
It's
I
still
don't-
on my TiVo season pass.
Yeah.
Keep till I delete.
I don't.
And
I
yes, I
don't
still
laugh.
TiVo.
I don't laugh
I
at every
also
Saturday Night Live.
I think sometimes I
thing,
can
you know?
Of course.
tell.
Right.
Sometimes I can tell, or I feel like I can feel whose energy is dominating
Yeah.
what gets,
Yeah.
what makes it to the screen, and that person needs to move out and let
Yes.
some of the other ones move in
Yes.
because they're actually funnier.
Agreed.
But
Yeah.
but I think I can tell that there's too tight a hold there, and it's
And I think that
you ain't
hold
gonna get-
released a little bit in the second season.
I hope so. I
Okay.
didn't get all the way.
That's what
through,
I've heard.
but I think that it had to release because
It was gonna just
you're
Yeah.
just not as funny.
But
But
I do think it's brilliant though.
I
think
do
it's
think it's
smart as fuck.
I agree with that.
Like it's a very smart show.
I agree with
It's a
that.
very smart show. Yeah.
I did watch both seasons for the culture, and
Right.
did not see the progression that you are mentioning, Michelle.
That I'm hoping
That'd be-
to see.
I'd be interested in your feedback.
Okay.
But I
I'll-
will
I'll
continue to
make a
watch for
note.
the culture, just like you guys
Yeah,
on
for
TiVo.
the
I will
culture,
continue
yeah.
to watch.
I'll
That's what
watch
I
I
it.
think.
don't
I think it's smart.
necessarily. I'm not necessarily into sketch. SNL's never probably
Oh,
never
Right,
been
right.
that.
That's stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
yeah.
I
that's
love
the
it.
thing
something
too.
you have to, yeah, that
It's
is
I'm not
something
being
you
harder
I
on them
love
than I am on other sketch. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's difficult
Sketches
to
are hard things
period.
to get
crack
into.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, In Living Color is probably the best sketch comedy.
I
Like
think so.
I didn't laugh every time at Mad TV.
Nope.
I don't laugh every time
SNL,
at
I
SNL.
still don't laugh. I don't even know how that shit has been on so long outside of just history.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I really do not laugh regularly
I do
at
too.
SNL since
I
Eddie
love
Murphy
SNL.
left. I can get into
I love it.
I
Damn,
can
that's a
I
long
can I
time,
can
Pete.
like no it is. I mean okay, if you think about it. How
I
many
love
skits do they
SNL.
do?
Yeah.
How many
I
skits do they
do.
do in an episode? And how many times
Yeah.
do you like
The
really
the
laugh
new
out loud?
the
Like
new
really
the
laugh?
new the
Well, how
news
much
is
have I been drinking
yeah.
before?
Yeah.
Boom. It's late at night.
Yeah.
So there's your influence. But I do
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, that's true. Drinking is a but I do think like I think like it gets a lot more grace.
It does.
because of it.
Absolutely.
Of course.
And I
agree
don't
with
think
you.
they've had
It
as
gets-
many brilliant people come on as they
But
used to.
they get
Yeah.
grace because of the success of the people
Of the
who left the
predecessors,
show.
right? I
Yeah.
mean, it
Yeah.
has a
Yes.
rich
You're not
history
wrong.
Yeah.
that it's riding
Yeah.
on. But
Yeah.
if I
Yeah.
had to look at like the past 10 years, I'd be
Mm-mm.
like,
Yeah.
show me which
Yes.
genius you birthed out of
Right.
here. They was birthing comedy geniuses for a
Yeah.
period
Yeah.
of time.
Genius
The
after
fact that
genius,
you
the
ain't
legacy
birthed
is
one
serious.
in a while is like
Yeah. Yeah.
saying something.
I mean, they're out there. They're out there. They're I mean,
Okay.
Bo and Yang, by the way, is everything. Oh, sorry.
I have
I
to
got a
see.
bug. I didn't get COVID, but I got
Okay.
something.
We will
Um,
forever ever have to give that disclaimer when we cough, sneeze, wipe our noses.
I know. I'm like, it ain't COVID, and we're online. Listen, and I'm like, it's okay, y'all. It's not. It's not
You're
COVID.
not even in the same room with that.
we can't get
I
it. We
know.
can't get it. It's okay.
Anyway, my bottom line on Black Lady Sketch Show was I will fight to the death for its
Yeah.
right to exist
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
This
continue,
exists. Exactly. Yeah.
and I'm rooting for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's-
Same.
that's
Same.
true.
Same.
That's
And we
Same.
know some folks affiliated with it, and we
Yeah.
want them. Wish
I'm
them nothing but the
excited to
best.
see
Yeah.
Issa's new
Want them
show
to win.
too.
Yeah, want them to win.
Yeah.
I think you already answered what Black Mom would you play, and I think that is the Black Mom from Star Trek. Is it the same? Is that
Oh
or
no,
someone
I
different?
don't want to. No, the person who does that, I'm like,
Let
you
her
got
do
it. But no, I would play. Well, I love that you mentioned Diane Carroll because I would be Dominique Devereaux from Dynasty just for the fashion. Listen,
Good.
Ooh.
That
come in
was
with my
good.
glass of champs. What?
And
and
put
have my-
somebody in the
my
put somebody in the
socks.
pool. Put
Oh,
somebody
of
in the
course.
pool. Yeah.
Have you seen the clip where she says, "I want to play a bitch. Find me a role where
Yes,
I can play a
find
bitch."
me
Yeah,
that.
Mm.
got
Yep.
it. Yeah, I
Yep.
love that.
Because that's so far from my personality in real life.
I don't think I've seen a Black
Who
Mama
would
I
you
want to play.
Who would you play? You haven't seen one you want to play?
I don't think I've seen one I want to play.
Mm-hmm.
It all feels hard. You know,
Yeah.
I don't. I wanna play a version of motherhood that feels just sweet. Just feels sweet.
Yeah.
Just feels easeful. Like I can just be my fullest, deepest, feminine, loving self. And it always feels like hard. Now, every now and then, here's what you'll see is you'll see a grandmother who can embody that. But I don't know if I see mothers or I have seen a mother that can embody that. But you will
Yeah.
see grandmothers who get to come in, peek, notice,
Yeah.
and then make a little sweet comment with some cookies, you know. But I would like to be in
Yeah.
a full-bodied mother role doing that.
I want that
NeKisha?
too.
NeKisha.
So folks we've mentioned already. I think I would enjoy playing Claire. As problematic as
That could be
all that.
Listen, my heart
Out
is
of-
broken.
Yeah,
I would,
yeah,
I would enjoy
forever.
playing her.
Yeah.
forever.
And because she is still everything today, right now.
Mhm.
Today she is.
If she walked in right now, I would act like I was her actual child. Like, you think about, hey mom, what can I get you? Do you need anything? Like, she was on Deaf Poetry, and she came in when we were there when we were filming, and everybody became a 7-year-old. We were like,
Yeah. Ma'am.
hey mom, can you make us a
Yeah.
sandwich
Ma'am.
after your shift as a lawyer, please?
And ironically, Beth, which
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to play Beth's mom and This Is Us, but I
Right.
want to play
Mm.
Claire and then
Yeah.
Beth. Yeah, I think
Well,
I'd
In
enjoy
many
both of
ways,
those.
you play Beth in real life.
True,
Real
story.
talk.
True story. I ain't got to
Anyways.
put my husband out there like that though.
I wasn't saying he was Randall. I was saying you.
Oh,
had a little piece.
I wasn't even thinking about your husband. I was
I think
thinking
about
about
the kids
the
and the
girls.
balancing
All
of
these
the, yeah. I
kids.
think about
So
the
you did
balancing
that.
of the piece. You did
You
that.
put your husband out
Moving
there. I was
around with
thinking
your
about
husband, taking
Yeah.
Wait, how's it
positions
go?
and stuff. Ooh,
Yeah.
it doesn't.
Yeah, we were thinking about the
It
girls.
did hit a little different.
You said your husband.
This is why I cannot
Live,
be trusted to be on live, y'all. I
live.
cannot do it.
That's what you're thinking. Like she we can't even edit that shit.
That's
I'll
what
take
you were
the hit.
doing.
I did it. It was me.
You'll take the hit, Thea. You'll
I take the hit. I had a
Yeah.
pappy. Life reference.
All right.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
who would I play?
Mm-hmm.
I would play Nina Brown. Who is Nina Brown? Nina Brown is
That
the
was
star of the pilot that I'm writing. So that's who.
Come
I would
on, Nina Brown. Hashtag.
That's Lil T. Lil T.
I love her already.
Oh, I love Nina Brown.
Perfect.
So if we
If
have
we ever did a
producers,
Nina Brown Tip of Mary mashup, that would be the best shit ever.
so if we have producers watching, writers, television people,
This guy's so hard.
Hit
hit
Crystal.
me up.
Hit Crystal.
It's in my Google.
Can I be in charge of doing your after show?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely.
Guys.
Yeah. It's in
All
my
right.
Google. What do you call that? Google Drive. It's in my
Drive.
Google Drive.
It's
The
in my
pilot
Google
is in my
Drive.
Google Drive. Yeah.
Final question.
Yes.
Michelle, and then
Yes.
anybody else. 10 years
All
from
right.
now, what
Yes.
will be the state of Black women, media, and television? What do you see?
Oh. So I'm going to just choose to ignore the hellscape that the Supreme Court and systemic racism have
You're coming to my bubble?
placed in front of me
Welcome to
to.
my
Got
bubble.
to.
all of us.
Welcome.
And I'm just going to ignore that for a second, right? And I'm just going to imagine that, time is a cycle. It's a pendulum and it swings. And right now it has swung in a really ugly direction. Ooh, Mama Pope, that's a good one.
That is
That's
a good one.
Oh,
Oh,
you know
that's
how I
my
feel about
that's
Mama
my
Pope.
my sister's
Good
such a
one.
good
You know
one.
how
That
I
would
feel
be
about
fun
Mama
to play.
Pope.
Woo!
And let me tell you, I know this person. She'd be excellent.
Mama Pope.
I love that.
She'd play the hell out of that.
But I'm
She'd
going
be
to assume
excellent.
that it's going to swing back. And I feel like Black women in television have momentum right now. And so I feel like the future looks really bright to me. And maybe I need to clean my glasses, but it looks really bright
think you're
because
right.
for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think that there are more spaces for opportunity. So just in television in general, right? There is more television than there has ever been before.
Period.
And,
Absolutely.
when I think about to that summer of 2012 person, could I have even imagined that there would be this much television right now? No possible way, right? So
Right.
network, cable, streaming, independent, like, I will never finish that list of TV.
Yeah.
I will never.
Yeah. Because there'll be new ones adding.
There'll
Right.
be new ones, right? And I
Yeah.
keep watching Married at First Sight. So like I can't get to any of this
That
other
is holding some space.
stuff. Exactly, right. So there's just more opportunity. So that's one reason. The second reason is because Black women are starting to recognize, thank you, Crystal, that it doesn't just have to be in front of the camera where we shine. We are needed desperately behind the camera, operating the camera, writing, producing, directing, editing, right? Lighting, sound tech,
Scoring.
scoring,
All
exactly.
of it.
So the fact that those areas are starting, Black women are starting to wake up and being like, listen, I I'm cute, but I don't have to be in front of the camera. I want to be back here. You know what I mean? I want to
Influencing.
be making the real, not that people in front of the camera are not making real change, but it needs to be a partnership. It needs to be a team.
Yeah.
And then the third reason why I think the future is bright is because there is so much more interest in hearing our stories right now.
Yeah.
Which that may be temporary. So we need to capitalize on it. And I'm conscious of why that is the case, and it may be an interest that was born from tragedy. But we do have a moment right now, and so we need to pedal to the metal.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think you're right though, and I think streaming platforms and all that just helps. So I
Yeah.
think you're right.
I'll
You
So
know, we
go
don't have
last.
to just wait for somebody to tell us, well, now you can make this. Okay, well, I'm going to
Yeah.
just make it.
yeah,
You know,
I'm
we
gonna
have
tell
the
you what's gonna
technology to
happen
do that
between
now.
Michelle's version. On the
Oh,
way to
no.
Michelle's version,
oh Lord.
this is when you see. Can I get a close up on me real quick? It's gonna be a black woman like me, looking like Julianne Moore in Pan Am, and the Hunger Games, like broadcasting to the Capitol and all the districts. Except it's gonna be a black woman. She's gonna be like, first of all, I told you so.
First of all,
First of all,
yes. I know.
Second of all, nobody makes laws anymore but me. Hello to all the districts and all the folks at the Capitol. I am the black woman in charge from here on out. Why? Are you asking yourself, did you miss the election? The election happened in 2016 and you fucked it over. So no. As a black mother, I have taken away your rights to election. This is a dictatorship, people.
Yes.
This is the only face you'll see for the next 100 years. Because I'm the only one you can trust to get this shit back on track. Everybody's on timeout.
Wow.
You eat what I say. You live in my house. You live by my laws. And maybe, if you listen carefully, you might get through this shit. I'll talk to you when I'm ready.
When I feel like it.
I'll be back when I don't ask me. What's that black man? She's like, why you in my business? Why you asking what I'm doing?
When I feel
Don't ask me when
ready.
I'll be back. Don't ask me when dinner. Don't ask me nothing. I will tell you what you need to know where you need to know it. God bless America.
Oh, God.
And God bless America.
That is the state of media between now and Michelle's version.
Shout out to the
Yes.
producer. Shout out to the producer. That's
Yes,
it.
right.
That's
Um,
producer.
Yes,
right,
CG, you need to get to writing. I need to get to writing and stop being scared.
That's right.
Do it
You gotta do it
scared.
scared. You gotta do it
Mhm.
scared.
There's room.
You gotta do it
There is
scared.
space.
Yeah.
Do
For
it.
now, until I shut down all the
Hey,
media.
you know
Correct,
what really
right.
helped me?
Clock
I
is
took what really helped me, CG, I took an online course from this place called Script Anatomy. And it just walked me through my development process. It really, really helped me get
didn't
to
tell me that.
writing
You didn't tell me
and
that.
develop. Oh, I
When
did.
There's
I
also
was
a book
struggling,
called
yeah,
The
it's
Coffee
respect.
Break Screenwriter.
Yeah.
Nope.
There's a book
Y'all
called
didn't
The
tell
Coffee,
me any of
The
that.
Coffee
Y'all
Break
know I'm
Screenwriter.
struggling.
I didn't
Y'all
know you
tell
was
me I
doing.
need
I didn't know you was.
accountability.
I didn't know
Y'all
you was
tell me I
writing
need to
script.
get into a
script, though.
program.
I
Go
didn't know
get
you
into
was
a
writing
Doing
script.
scripts.
Well, you know, we're all my
I
co-hosts
ain't writing
don't know it.
scripts. I ain't
Oh.
writing scripts. Is that
Well,
only for
you-
script writers?
Oh, that's
No,
a
yes, for
script.
script writers.
Okay,
But
I'm not
you'll be
offended
starting to
anymore.
write a
No.
script in August. You don't know it yet, but you're gonna be starting on the script
There
in
you
August.
go.
But yeah.
Say it.
You better do it before I shut
Yeah.
everything down.
That's why I chose August.
On the
Um,
clock.
What's happening right? What is happening right now?
we don't know.
Wait.
It's late. I hope somebody's able to pick up my kids because I can't.
We're off the rails. Okay, reel it in. Reel it in.
Well, thank you so much, Michelle,
You are
for joining us. This has
wonderful.
been great. This has
So-
been great. This has been great.
Yes.
Later on, we'll talk
This has been great.
about a couple of the shows, like Only Murders in the Building,
Well,
The Man
we'll
Who
have
Fell from
oh,
Earth,
owners
and
of
The
the building.
Bear.
Listen, that is currently
And the bear.
72.
Yeah. So,
Only
but
Murders
we'll
in the
have.
Building is number
well,
72. Oh, bump that up.
I
Well,
yo,
enough about-
but oh,
Is that a
but you
Netflix documentary? What is it?
no,
Virgo.
it's on
I love
Hulu.
Virgo.
It's on Hulu.
Okay, I'm
It's
Only
a
Murders in the
Hulu show.
Building.
It's so good.
I'm watching The Bear, which is with the kid from Shameless. He's not a kid anymore, but it's awesome
Okay,
too.
Yeah.
so
And then The
we.
Man Who Fell to
Yeah.
Earth.
Yes.
I would
with
love to
Sweetheart
have you
Defoe.
back periodically to
I
do
would
this
love
kind
to
of
come
thing.
back.
Yeah.
Whenever
do this.
y'all call,
Yeah.
I will answer.
Yeah,
Although
and
y'all
then
don't really be
maybe
phones
we'll
anymore.
have set shows so everybody will have watched.
Watch.
And, you know,
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
we can talk.
that
I
would be
love
so
that.
Yeah.
good.
So
I
That
love
would be
that.
so
And I
good.
got to have
We'll do
y'all
it.
on my show.
Of
as
Yes.
well.
Yes,
Of course.
We have
I
to
love
do
it.
that.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
We're
So
in.
thank
I
you so
love
much.
y'all.
Thank you,
So-
Michelle. Thank you for everything.
Be sure that you follow Michelle on
Yes,
Instagram.
please.
You can follow her at The Curious Case of M. Moss or
And
Foss.
Foss.
M. Foss or the TV doc and check out her podcast. I'll have all of
TV
those
is spelled
links.
out, right?
Yes.
TEEVEEPHD.
PhD. That's
Yeah.
what I thought.
On
Okay.
I'll have all of those links in our comment in our comments. So I'll drop those in
Yay.
our comments. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Have a
Love
good rest of your
y'all.
day. Bye, boo.
Bye. Let me okay. So do we need a break or are we just gonna jump right into Black
We
Women's
gotta
Day?
keep
We
going.
running.
Okay, we
We
gotta keep
running.
going.
Kids
All
is
right.
crying, dogs is barking. We going. We going.
Okay, here we go.
It's a
Okay.
madhouse
The
out there.
sun is setting.
Go ahead, NeKisha.
All right. Our final segment, Black Mama Say, is where we put our own twist on sayings from Black mamas or give sage black as fuck advice. All right.
Okay.
Today we have a listener letter. Crystal, share with us what the listener
Okay.
said.
This listener letter is entitled Combating Toxic Masculinity. And I cut out the other part, but that's the first part of the subject. Hi. No, she says, hey, I'm a 29-year-old mom of a 13-month-old boy. My question is mainly for Crystal, being that she has 3 boys, but advice from everyone is welcome. So I've dealt with problematic, colorist, homophobic, misogynistic men my entire life. I'm an avid social media user and I'm exposed to the toxic views of Black men on a daily basis. I'm terrified of raising a son that turns out like that. One episode, Crystal mentioned having conversation with her boys and trying to combat toxic masculinity. I've had debates and arguments with Black men and have attempted to educate them, and it's exhausting. I just wanted to ask for advice, tips, and various age-appropriate conversation topics I can have with my son as he matures. I understand I will have to combat messages he may receive when I'm not around. I come from a Southern Black family that loves Jesus. Maternal grandpa is the pastor. I've quietly been researching ATRs and have stopped claiming Christianity due to its oppressive nature and roots. And Christianity is rooted in misogyny, homophobia, rape culture, and I really don't want that influence over my kid. However, I lean heavily on my family because I'm a single mom in the military reserves and sometimes have to leave for extended periods of time. My son will be in spaces where my politics and opinions aren't the majority, and I just need advice. Now, I realize my baby is only 13 months old and I won't be having these conversations tomorrow. Just looking to prepare myself and ease my anxiety about it. Thanks in advance.
Is that how you do it, NeKisha? Is this how you do it? Did I do it right this time?
No, Thea, you have to come back. Okay.
I'm coming back eventually. I just think you start.
I'll start. So I'll
You
start.
did good. Yeah, you did
I'll
good.
I'll start by
I'm just
number
gonna stay here
one.
for a minute.
Thea,
I'll be back. I will be back. I just need to take it all in.
I'll start by number one saying, whatever healing you need to do around Black men and your relationships with Black men, then take the time to do that. Take the time to do the healing around all of those relationships. Your time and energy is better spent investing in your healing around those relationships. CG Love is running away. She is running away from this conversation as well.
Look, that's it. That's it. I mean, I'm feeling you. Wait for me, CJ. Don't you leave me.
So,
Mom of a son, come on back in this room. Come on back in here,
So-
CG.
so
We need you.
heal around that. Your time and energy is better spent investing in that healing than debating with folks on social media. That's number one. Stop doing that and invest in healing around whatever issues or whatever healing you need to do. I don't know that you have any, but if you do, I'm going to say that is number one. Number two, it is never too early to start talking to your sons about consent. And consent is not just intimate partner relationships. Consent for me is about everything. I normalize consent with my sons. I normalize it. Before you touch me, ask mom, can I have a hug? Before I touch you, can I hug you right now? I normalize that. Thea was at my house a couple of weeks ago. My son, my 8-year-old, went to hug her and I was like, uh-oh, did you ask? So normalize consent in all relationships, right? And when you start to normalize it across the board, when you begin to have conversations around consent in intimate partner relationships, it's already normal. The problem is consent is not normal in our culture across the board. I normalize the word no being a one-word sentence. Sometimes we teach our children, you got to be persistent. Even when someone tells you no, you keep on, you keep on. We raise boys in a culture of chase. You chase women, you chase girls, you be persistent even if she says no. We teach girls that if a guy is persistent like that, that means that he likes you. And we teach boys to pursue women in that manner. I'm talking about heteronormative relationships. What I say to that is I normalize respecting my no, and I give my children language. When I say no, do not continue to ask me. What you can say is, okay, let me know if you change your mind. And then I will let you know if I change my mind. If they continue to ask me, I reiterate, you're not respecting my no. So it's never too early to begin to have conversations with your boys about consent. What you have to realize is right now we live in a culture that's rooted in patriarchy. And because of that, your boys will have blind spots, just like we're in a culture that's rooted in racism. And so white people have blind spots. So you have to think about it in that way. And so you have to be way, 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 way more intentional, because the conversations may not come up based on their experience. The third thing that I would say about having your children around people who don't hold your same belief systems. My children are well aware of what my belief systems are. And so is my family. And whenever a conversation is happening and my belief systems are different, I speak up about it. Now, I'm not someone who feels like if somebody is praying and I practice Afro spirituality, I'd be like, don't pray for me like that. I welcome all prayers. You know what I'm saying? So, and that comes from a place of healing. And that healing is very important so that you can make sure that you're interacting with your child from a place of peace and healing and not trauma. Because it's a very, very different response. But my point is, sometimes I think that, let me say this, you do have to be conscious of who your children are around and make sure that those people know and understand your beliefs, especially if they're participating in especially if they're part of your community or village that's participating in the rearing of your child, right? I also think it's important for your child to see how you handle interacting when you disagree or your loved ones have a different belief system. Because I don't necessarily believe that it's necessary for everyone who interacts with your child to have the same beliefs or hold the same beliefs as you do. I think that you do have to draw boundaries about language and talking to your children. And I think it's important for your children to see you, how you handle when people have different beliefs, how you interact with them, how you call them in, and how you stand up for what you believe in. Because the goal, you do want your children to have, I mean, I have to admit, you do want your children to have your same beliefs, but they may not. But what you really want to teach your children is how to stand in what they believe in, whether it's the same thing you believe in or whether it's not the same thing. The other thing about people who have different belief systems, one thing that I remember telling my mom this, just because I'm doing it different doesn't mean you didn't do a good job. The world has changed. I've changed. I've learned. And the goal is for all of us to evolve. You trust what you raised, then trust how I'm raising my child and trust my choices, right? Those are not easy conversations to have, but I do believe they're necessary. One of the ways that I'm being intentional about making sure that I have conversations with my son about, nobody wants to raise a fuck boy. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. Nobody wants to raise a fuck boy. And one of the ways that I'm being intentional about that is my son will have a rites of passage, because there's not necessarily anything in our culture like there is for women to mark that moment, right? And so I want to make sure that I mark this moment, and he will have a rites of passage where he will choose who he wants to learn things from. Now, when we send out that email, it will say, like, homophobia will not be tolerated, sexism will not be tolerated. And so some people may not choose to participate. But there will be certain conversations that only I will have with my son, because I want to make sure that he gets that information in a certain way. But the purpose of the rites of passage is to make sure that I set aside intentional time and effort to kind of teach to those blind spots and teach your children compassion. Like, sometimes when we teach our children compassion, the rest of the lessons come a lot easier. Now, with all that being said, what I'm about to say next may sound like like I'm contradicting myself, but release it. The one thing that I'm learning, one thing that I'm living in right now, is we cannot be attached to the outcomes of our children, who they are, the choices they make, and what they do. Lord knows I've done things that my mom taught me I shouldn't do, or were a reflection of what she taught me. So my children are going to make choices and do things that aren't necessarily a reflection of what I taught them. The thing to do is to be there when you have the capacity. But even if your son ends up doing some misogynistic, homophobic bullshit when they get older, it doesn't mean that you didn't do something right. It means that's a lesson that he has to learn in this particular way. And it may also be a parenting lesson for you in terms of how you're holding your child. Lastly, you got to have some support, because it is not easy out there in them streets with the boomers. If that's the age group that that your your grandparents or your village is in. But it's not easy out there in the streets when you're trying to raise your child. It's not easy out there in them streets with what you're trying to do. So you're going to need some support. There's a wonderful parenting group that I'm a part of. I mentioned it before. It's called Conscious Parenting for the Culture. And it is excellent. I think it is an excellent group in terms of raising your child in a conscious, in an intentional and conscious way, and the age appropriate and advice on the age appropriate conversations that you can have. And it is a supportive group. It has advice. It also has resources in there as well. It's a Facebook group, Conscious Parenting for the Culture. You can also sign up for their newsletter. If you go to Decolonizing Parenting, Decolonizing Parenthood, let me make sure I have it right on Instagram. If you go to that, I'll put the link in the comments. But if you go to that, you can get to the Facebook group from there. I'll also put the link to the Facebook group in there as well. But there's a lot of compassion in that group as well, which is something that I appreciate, because they understand that parenting is a journey and that we're all learning, especially Black parents, as we go and liberate ourselves. So those would be my tips and advice. And for my older son, he came to us when we was 11. We was dealing with a whole lot of other shit. So we're still building our relationship. So the way in which I educate and interact with him is a little bit different, but it's a lot of like in the moment, like information. Like, I talk to him about consent as well. If you don't have sex with someone who has been intoxicated, because if they really want to have sex with you, they'll have sex with you when you're sober. I have real conversations with him about group sex, because that is a thing. That is a thing. I didn't know it was a thing when I was in my 20s, but I've learned that people was doing it in the 90s, and they're definitely doing it now. And those can be tricky situations to navigate, but I think those are important. You have to have real conversations, and you have to arm yourself with the information as well. So those would be my words.
Go ahead, NeKisha.
You still disappearing, Thea? Okay.
I'm holding tight.
I don't know what I can add to that. I think Crystal has laid it out beautifully, responded to every single possible angle you would need to come from to really address this well. Kudos to Crystal. Clearly, she has thought through this. She has been through. She's living it, and that's why the question was posed toward her. I'm really thankful as a mom of people with uteruses and all of that. That there are young men being raised. There are folks being raised in this way who they will encounter, who will honor their no and request their and require their consent before moving forward, and who are being raised to no matter what is happening around them, what other family members or what whoever the other influences are in their lives believe, they're being raised to stand firm in who they are, in the way that they navigate the world that's been clearly laid out for them. That I'm really proud to hear that, excited to hear that, because who knows what these people are going to encounter, my people are going to encounter as they go out and start to make foster relationships. We'll know they're going to get.
We don't know.
But I'm happy to hear that that's at least there's a chance they could encounter someone who has had this type of
And if you've had my 12-year-old and I, if you've had conversations about body autonomy, if you've normalized body autonomy in your house, if you've normalized consent, then when it comes to Roe v. Wade, it was a no-brainer for him. It was like, what? You're telling somebody else what to do with their body? That don't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But from an early age, that was normalized. So, yeah.
Same over here. All right, Thea, what you got?
This is all I got. That's all I got. I think sometimes we want our children to be good people, whatever that means, cause no harm. Sometimes we think of how to control their worlds and who enters and who exits and all those things. And we kind of begin policing them, policing the people around them. So the first thing, because he's so young, is to remember that you haven't corrupted him yet, meaning that he came here knowing what he wants to do and who he wants to be. And so protecting that from yourself first, the Fear of the Free Child is also a great podcast resource. Yes. And Akila S. Richard says, my children are sovereign territory, and if I'm not careful, I will colonize them. You have a fresh soul here that doesn't really identify as a particular gender or anything like that yet, just as an energy and a soul, and cultivating space where that is held sacred for as long as possible is your first priority, I would think. The second thing is to create an atmosphere of curiosity, and not judgment, meaning kind of like what Krista was saying, if you're not judging the family members around you, he won't learn to judge, but he'll learn to come back and ask questions about what they're saying and bring those questions to you where you all can have a conversation. Why are your views different? And where did they get this from? And it just becomes explorative as opposed to, and give him more data to make decisions about how he wants to chart this course. And the last thing I would offer is just to expand the world, not to contract it. So for me, my healing through masculinity did not come here. It definitely came from leaving the United States of America and engaging other cultures where the men just were different with women. And that has been huge, and thinking about and being around cultures where men hug and men are best friends and they say, I love you. And they kiss on the cheek and it's all normal and none of it is, rooted in homophobia. It's beautiful. And so you might want to make sure that, when possible, you're traveling to spaces where he can see Black and brown men in Africa, in the Caribbean, and different places that are embracing each other and loving each other and being friends, and but also understand women's roles and the importance of keeping them safe, that it's normalized in certain cultural aspects. So expanding is actually, to me, when we center the world around certain things we don't want to happen, what the mind sees, the mind seeks, right? What we don't want to happen is also putting energy towards what we don't want to happen. Put the energy towards what we do want to happen. What kind of person do we want to be? And think about exposing into those things so that you're not so focused on what you don't want that you actually attract it. So that would be, that's what I got.
So divest in educating Black men on social media. Divest in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And put your
Yeah.
energy, towards your son. That could just time better spent. Time and
Absolutely.
energy better spent.
Thank you
So
so much for trusting us
those
with that, though, as well.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for
Yeah.
writing in. We love it. We
Mhm.
love it.
Yeah. And and it's I mean, Thea was here a couple of weeks ago. She's she's
Oh, it's very
witnessing me.
male.
She's
It's very
witnessing
male.
me, in the trenches. And your son is gonna go through phases, so make sure that you understand that that you understand that um as well. So best wishes. The name of the uh on who to follow on Instagram is parenting decolonized, and I'll put that link in the chat. And Fair the Free Child, raising free people, one of the founders of the Facebook group Parenting Decolonized, is the producer of this season of Fair of the Free Child,
Mhm.
Demaria Dickinson. So get you some resources. You cannot, what you say, Thea, you cannot be out here raw dogging it. You can't.
Mm-mm.
When raising,
That was some good advice.
yeah,
That's
get you
best
some
advice I did
support.
get on
You're
this.
going to need, you're definitely going to need
Absolutely.
some support. So, someone, let's
Hey,
see.
y'all. We had some folks come in here during that.
Come in just right quick. Oh, CG showed us so much love. She said, I love y'all.
Love you
Um,
back.
she said, get out my room when I put you on the single thing. You are in control of how you show up as a mom, and that is the best influence. And handle what is in front of you. Be gentle with yourself. That's good advice. Hey, DBM Trinity. Oh, I love that. I gotta add that to the intro. I gotta
Hey, Taylor. You giving her more and more ammunition here. More tools in the tool.
hey boo things. Monique says I came on how not to raise a fuck boy.
Yes.
I mean, the universe brought you in at that moment for a
At that
reason. That's all I'm
moment.
saying.
I mean, it ain't what you want. Nobody wants that. So I understand that. Okay, black people.
That's
All
it.
right.
NeKisha.
All right. Are we ready?
All
Are we ready?
right.
Mhm.
I think we're ready. I had something else to say, but I forgot what it was. So
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
it ain't me
Follow
right
us.
Follow
Follow us
hit it.
on Instagram at Dem Black Mama's podcast. And if you don't want to miss a minute of the magic and stay up to date with everything we're conjuring up, sign up for our newsletter, The Mothership, which drops in your inbox twice a month.
sort of.
And don't forget to check out our website, www.demblackmamas.com. You can also send us your thoughts about the show, show us some love, and ask us some questions at magic@demblackmamas.com.
Okay. Be sure and subscribe to our sister podcast, Shaping the Shift.
Whenever that
And
joint come back. I got an episode actually in the chamber to drop, but I can't drop it until I've let everybody who it impact knows that I'm dropping it. So I'm making my rounds. No, not that one.
Oh.
Just checking. You saw our
Just
faces
No,
like, wait, what?
nope.
What we doing?
That is
Okay.
probably like a 5-year plan.
Okay.
I was like, I thought we was doing it on this show, but okay.
So it's an exclusive.
Not on purpose.
And if you're a Black mom in need of love and support, join the new app for Black moms, Meet Akina. Founded by Black mom and entrepreneur Lee Butler, Meet Akina is the new social media app for Black moms, Black bonus moms, and aunties. So with that, in closing, we wish you
Fun.
expansion.
And a
NeKisha.
great weekend.
There it is.
It's too late. I'm going to start working on my word for 2023. Leave me alone.
That's a good idea.
Leave me alone.
I think
Have a
it's
great weekend.
idea considering it's
What?
July.
Thank you, CG. We love you too. She said that we're dope. We'll just end on that. That's all we
Yes.
got, Black people.
We
That's
got
all we
no
got,
more.
Black people. We ain't got no more. Y'all pray that my kids got picked up, that my boo got the text message, that Q baby got the text message to pick them kids up. I ain't got no call from the Boys and Girls Club, so I think they good. Namaste. Namaste.
Let's get out this heat.
Namaste, Black people. Please, you in California, girl.
It is hot right
All
now
right.
in the heat wave.
And we're out.
Yeah.
Oh, dang. We still on.
We're not out.